just because she has beast folk horns on her head. The girl is treated as nothing more than a toy by her entire family. Her stepsister tears her dress to humiliate her. Her stepbrother deliberately trips her, and her stepfather even puts a price tag on her. But they never imagined that the immensely powerful Duke Leon would slaughter the entire family for her sake, because she's the only key to unlocking his new world. The girl's name is Arya. At 9 years old, she came to the Viscount's estate with her mother. Because her mother was a local beauty, the Viscount pursued her passionately. The two eventually married, and her mother told her to be grateful for the Viscount's shelter. But they weren't welcome in the mansion. Her stepsister constantly bullied her, saying she didn't deserve to wear ribbons. No matter how Arya tried to explain, it was useless. During one struggle, her stepsister screamed after being pricked by something on Arya's head. She discovered that Arya actually had small horns growing on her head. Her stepsister's face turned deathly pale with fear. She fled screaming in panic, and Arya's secret as a mixed-blood beast folk was completely exposed. Her stepfather's attitude changed drastically, frequently lashing out at the mother and daughter. Not long after, her mother's carriage had a sudden accident, killing her. They claimed it was caused by a suddenly broken wheel, but Arya clearly saw someone leaving the carriage storage with a sharp weapon before the accident. No one believed her words. Right after her mother's funeral, she caught a servant secretly taking away her mother's belongings. Panic set in, and she rushed forward to stop her and ask why. The servant dismissively said the master would be sad seeing them and wanted them cleared out. But mother's funeral just ended today, Arya choked out. The servant turned away coldly, saying it was the master's order. Tears welled up in Arya's eyes, her heart aching, but her mother had told her not to cry easily, so she held back, refusing to let the tears fall. She immediately turned and ran in the direction the servant left, trying to stop her. But she was still a step too late. Her mother's clothes and jewelry were being mercilessly consumed by flames. Arya cried out and tried to rush forward, but her stepfather suddenly appeared and blocked her. He even frowned and scolded her harshly for being ignorant. Arya choked up and protested loudly. Those were mother's precious belongings. Her stepfather remained unmoved and responded coldly, saying those were things of the dead and would bring bad luck. Arya was devastated. Everyone in this mansion was so heartless. Unable to hold back anymore, she lunged toward the pile of belongings, desperate to save something. In the chaos, her stepbrother deliberately stuck out his foot and tripped the unsuspecting Arya. Arya fell hard to the ground. Her stepbrother offered a fake apology, claiming it was an accident. Arya lay helplessly on the cold ground, her entire body trembling. She watched helplessly as her mother's belongings were ruthlessly devoured by raging flames. The precious belongings finally turned into a pile of black ash. Arya murmured in despair, "All of mother's things are gone." In her grief, she reached directly into the scorching ash, ignoring the burns on her hands. Fortunately, she found the small pendant her mother left behind in the ashes. Arya clutched the pendant tightly, silently relieved she found it. This was the only keepsake her mother left her, but her mother's face on the pendant had been burned beyond recognition. The tears Arya had been holding back finally burst forth like a broken dam. Her mother had repeatedly told her she absolutely couldn't cry easily, but the grief was too much to contain, and Arya covered her face, sobbing uncontrollably. This heartbreaking scene happened to be witnessed by Leon passing by. Leon instinctively stops in his tracks, standing silently to observe. He sees Arya's tears falling heavily, one after another. What shocks him even more is that her tears are slowly healing the burns on her hands. So Leon slowly approaches and gently asks, "Something very sad happened to you?" Arya looks up at the sound. She's instantly mesmerized by Leon's stunning appearance. She can't help but wonder to herself, is this gentle person before her an angel descended from heaven? She suddenly snaps back to reality and holds out the hand clutching the pendant. With her voice breaking, she says sadly, "I can't see mother's picture anymore." Leon looks at the pendant and immediately understands what happened. He gently places his hand on the pendant in her palm. A soft magical glow appears, and Arya's eyes widen in shock. She looks at Leon in disbelief. He's a mage! The magic works, and her mother's damaged photo is miraculously restored. Arya gazes at her mother's clear face on the pendant. Full of gratitude, she sincerely thanks Leon. She then asks his name and introduces herself as Arya. Leon responds gently, saying his name is Leon, and she can just call him by name. Arya softly repeats Leon, warmth inexplicably rising in her heart. "Yes, Arya," Leon responds tenderly. Arya quickly says she wants to repay his kindness. Leon pauses thoughtfully, then replies gently, "If you want to repay me, can I see you again?" From that day forward, Leon often comes to see her quietly and keeps her company. He becomes her most trusted confidant in the mansion. However, not long after her mother's death, Arya is banished to the attic. Though her stepfather still provides food and shelter, they're like strangers. Every long night, she desperately misses her mother. During this time, her step-siblings often come to the attic to torment her, leaving her covered in bruises. Her stepsister constantly complains that her mother is already dead and gone, so why doesn't their father get rid of this foreign monster? Her stepbrother sometimes deliberately notices the bread and milk Arya hides in the corner. Each time, he cruelly stomps on them with a wicked grin before leaving. Arya is left alone in the attic staring at the destroyed food, her stomach growling. Her her heart full of grievance and sadness. But she still picks up a piece of bread to eat when a servant suddenly calls from downstairs. The master wants to see her. As soon as she leaves the attic, her stepfather grabs her face to examine it. His face dark, he demands to know why her stepsister injured her face. Her stepsister's face turns pale with fear as she apologizes frantically. Her stepfather scolds her for causing trouble at a critical time. A duke is coming to inspect the estate today. Arya hears the duke's title and feels confused and uneasy. Her stepfather immediately tells her stepbrother to fetch expensive medicine for Arya. Arya is overjoyed, thinking her stepfather still cares about her after all. Today, she's carefully dressed up in a pale yellow dress, looking adorably charming. Arya happily thinks how nice it would be if the duke came every day. She grins goofily at the full-length mirror, imagining that if Leon saw her, he'd definitely say it suits her. Before long, the duke's carriage arrives. But to Arya's surprise, the person stepping out of the carriage is actually Leon. Her stepfather immediately bows respectfully, saying, "Thank you for coming. The journey must have been tiring." The duke smiles politely and says he'll be grateful for the Viscount's hospitality these 2 days. Her step-siblings are so stunned by the handsome duke that they can't speak. Arya is even more shocked. How does the duke look exactly like Leon? The duke quickly notices her gaze and quietly makes a shushing gesture toward her. Arya's heart pounds wildly. Could the duke before her really be Leon? The quiet night falls. Arya decides the most reliable approach is to ask him directly. She remembers the guest room is nearby and quietly heads in that direction. Passing by a guest room, she hears voices inside. Curious, Arya peers through the crack in the door, wanting to know what they're discussing. She hears someone ask in confusion, "Why not sell the beastfolk child to the underground market?" Her stepfather responds coldly, "Have you not seen my late wife's extraordinary beauty?" The visitor grows more confused. What does this have to do with Arya? Her stepfather laughs sinisterly and says Arya looks exactly like her mother. Arya hears her stepfather's words and backs away several steps in terror. She hears him continue, "When she grows up, imagine how beautiful and captivating she'll be, especially in bed." Arya is terrified out of her wits. The only thought in her mind is to get away, and she runs frantically. Not noticing someone ahead, she crashes hard into them and falls to the ground. She looks up. It's Leon! Leon quickly extends his hand to her, asking with concern if she's all right. Like grabbing a lifeline, Arya cries and begs Leon to save her. She rambles incoherently about Leon's noble status and promises to do whatever he says. Arya grips his hand tightly, pleading with him to take her away from here. Leon's gaze is gentle as he tells her to calm down and explain what happened. After Arya tells him, her body still trembles with fear. After listening, Leon calmly reveals he came here specifically today to help her. Arya is too shocked to speak. She never expected this. Leon softly reassures her there's no need to flee right away. There's a solution to everything. Arya looks confused. If she doesn't escape, how can she get out of this situation? Leon asks seriously, "From now on, can you do exactly as I say?" Arya immediately nods firmly. Leon orders her to go immediately to the underground chamber beneath the estate. Arya freezes. Underground chamber? Where is that? Leon explains in detail. The underground chamber is hidden deep in the estate's backyard. Arya follows the directions to the backyard, and indeed finds the hidden door. She hesitates for a moment before gently pushing the door open. It's pitch black inside. Arya carefully steps inside, her heart full of anxiety and unease. She mutters to herself, wondering how Leon would know about such a hidden place. The more Arya thinks about it, the more she realizes Leon has been mysterious since their first meeting. She finds a dark corner and curls up. Frowning, she wonders repeatedly, who exactly is Leon? Lost in thought, exhausted in body and mind, she unknowingly falls asleep. Meanwhile, outside, lightning flashes and thunder roars with howling winds. Everyone in this Viscount's estate is killed in a single night. Only Leon remains, smirking coldly at the bodies covering the ground, his eyes icy and piercing. On the other side, Arya seems to hear noisy voices. She hasn't fully woken from her sleep when she hears someone shout loudly, "Found her! She's here!" A knight in armor steps forward to confirm. He points at Arya and says confidently, "This must be the child." He then reaches out, preparing to forcibly take Arya away. Arya is brought by the knights to what was once her home. She sees the horrific scene of bodies strewn everywhere, her face pale with shock. Why is everyone dead? What happened? Leon watches her trembling form. He quickly walks toward her and gently calls Arya's name. Arya suddenly snaps back to reality and grabs Leon in disbelief. She cries out in anguish, "Father, everyone, something terrible happened to them." Leon gently reassures her they can never bully her again. Arya is shocked. "Did Leon do this?" she asks in disbelief. "Did you kill everyone?" With her voice breaking, she says this isn't what she wanted at all. Leon explains this was the king's order. The Viscount's family was exterminated for kidnapping and trafficking beastfolk. Arya is utterly shocked. She never imagined this was His Majesty's command. Leon apologizes, saying he didn't mean to upset her, but they truly deserve their fate. Arya is filled with dread. How did things turn out like this? She's terrified, but she still holds back her tears. Leon looks at her and asks with concern if she's still willing to go with him now. He says if she's willing, he'll help her find another place to live. He waits patiently, asking what Arya is thinking. Arya thinks for a long time after hearing this. The next day in the palace, Leon reports to the Emperor that he has dealt with the Grayson family family as ordered. The Emperor praises him for a job well done. The Viscount's family was truly foolish. Just thinking about the Beastfolk Kingdom causing trouble over this gives him a headache. The Emperor changes the subject, asking if Leon rescued a slave. Leon admits it frankly. The Emperor warns him to be careful. Wild beasts might bite their masters at any time. Leon responds respectfully that he'll remember His Majesty's reminder. Time flies, and 6 years have passed since that incident. Today, the sunlight in the Duke's estate is unusually warm. The now-grown Arya is dozing off in the Duke's residence. She wakes up drooling. She sees Leon standing in the doorway watching her and jumps in surprise. Leon teases with a smile, saying Arya looks really tired. Arya quickly denies it, saying she's only sleepy because the sunlight is so nice. Leon laughs and says she's really adorable. He then notices the book in her hands and asks if she's reading about the Varna kingdom again. Arya nods excitedly. It's a kingdom inhabited only by beastfolk. She's curious about what kind of beastfolk live there and has always been fascinated by it. Leon then suggests that Arya join him today in receiving a guest. Arya is surprised. She didn't expect the estate to have visitors. Leon smiles and says Arya will definitely be happy to meet him. At this, Arya feels both excited and nervous. She hasn't seen a stranger in so long. The Duke's estate is spacious but rarely occupied. Usually only letters or carrier pigeons arrive, never guests. This person would be the estate's very first guest. The guest arrives shortly. He has black hair, green eyes, and strikingly handsome features. She brings tea forward to serve him, but he glares at her fiercely. Arya flinches in fear. She wonders why he's glaring at her. Leon walks over and apologizes for being late. The man says discontentedly, "This isn't the first time you've kept guests waiting." He points at Arya and demands, "You know I hate humans. Why is she here?" Arya is confused, not understanding why this man rejects her so much. Leon explains that Arya is his assistant. The man is still unhappy, saying assistant or not, she shouldn't be here. Leon continues, saying Arya isn't actually human. Arya gasps Leon's name in shock, completely unprepared for him to say this. Leon introduces him to Arya, saying this is his friend Cade, who is also beastfolk. Arya is even more incredulous, so she can't help staring at him. Surprised that Cade isn't human, Cade grows impatient with her staring and snaps, "You're going to bore a hole through my face." Leon formally introduces him as Cade Morris, who brings news from the Beastfolk Kingdom. Hearing Beastfolk Kingdom, Arya instantly brightens up and enthusiastically greets him. Cade responds coldly. Leon smooths things over with a smile, saying Cade has a difficult personality and Arya shouldn't mind. He adds that Cade served as the investigator for the Grayson Viscount incident 6 years ago. Cade complains irritably about why he's bringing up that troublesome matter. Leon explains that Arya is the child he brought back from the Viscount's estate at that time. He admits that without Cade's help, it would have been difficult to prove the Viscount's crimes. Leon praises him, saying Cade also helped hide the victims in advance, reducing casualties. Cade grumbles that because of that incident, he's been stuck with the royal court for 6 years. Arya speaks up and sincerely thanks Cade. Thanks to him, she was able to escape that situation. Cade responds coldly, "Save the pleasantries. I was just doing my job." Arya mutters to herself that Cade is really difficult to get along with. Leon says he hopes the two can get along well. After all, Arya needs friends too. Hearing this, warmth fills Arya's heart as she happily thinks she has a new friend. Cade interrupts mercilessly, "What friends? This isn't children playing house." Her enthusiasm dampened. Arya's mood instantly deflates. Cade suddenly speaks up, saying he came to see Leon during his leave because he needs help with something. After saying this, both Cade and Leon stare at Arya. The next second, Arya is asked by Leon to leave the room. This leaves Arya feeling upset. Sure enough, whenever Leon has something important, he excludes her. She thinks indignantly that she's his assistant after all. After thinking for a moment, she decides to quietly eavesdrop outside the door. She vaguely hears words like whereabouts, unknown, and territory, which makes her even more curious. Arya hears them say they need Leon's help and plan to depart in 2 days. She thinks excitedly that she wants to go too. She is Leon's assistant after all, but remembering past rejections, she hesitates. Arya worries about what she needs to do to earn Leon's recognition. Leon walks out of the room and says Cade will be staying here during his time in the Empire, and she'll need to look after him. Arya's eyes immediately light up as she looks at the two of them, an idea forming. She resolves to prove her usefulness by taking care of Cade. Arya thinks happily that this way they'll agree to let her go along. The more she thinks about, the happier she gets, even imagining Leon praising her. Leon and Cade watch Arya's sudden excitement with confusion. Arya nods vigorously, saying she'll do her very best with the caretaking. After that, Arya follows Cade closely, looking for opportunities to help and prove herself. Cade asks impatiently, "Why do you keep following me?" Arya quickly explains that she wants to help, which is why she's following him. Cade quickly refuses, telling her to go mind her own business and leave him alone. Though angry inside, Arya tells herself to be patient. Then she sees Cade looking for books in the library. Arya immediately volunteers to help find the books. She then comes over carrying a towering stack of books, saying, "I brought all the related books." Cade looks at the mountain of books somewhat helplessly and asks, "Are there really this many?" He picks up a book and flips through it, saying, "This isn't the Ethel Chronicles, but the Ethel Legends." Arya's eyes widen in surprise, and the books slip from her hands. Books scatter all over the floor, mixing with Cade's documents. The next second, Arya is kicked out of the library. She thinks dejectedly that this isn't how things were supposed to go. Leon silently observes all this from behind, looking thoughtful. Arya still doesn't give up. and takes the initiative to prepare dinner to prove herself. Leon watches from the side, telling her she doesn't need to do this. He can handle it. But Arya refuses enthusiastically, saying, "Leave it to me, I can definitely do this." She stirs the cream confidently, saying she's someone who keeps her word. Then she realizes she needs sugar. Leon immediately uses magic to bring it over. Leon looks at the messy counter. He can't help asking, "I thought you'd never cooked before?" Arya feels a bit guilty but stubbornly says she should be able to succeed anyway. At this moment, Cade, who is reading, suddenly feels a chill down his spine with an ominous premonition. Arya firmly believes that if she makes a good dinner, Leon and Cade will take her along on the trip. Before long, the cake is finally done, and Arya happily says, "Please enjoy." But this cake looks terrible and is probably inedible. Cade looks at the cake with difficulty, frowning and asking if he really has to eat it. But Leon says gently, "I'll enjoy it, Arya." He then begins eating it elegantly. Cade hesitates to touch it, struggling with where to even start. Arya stares at Cade expectantly, hoping he'll give it a good review. Cade steels himself and takes a bite. He's instantly hit by the awful taste. It's truly disgusting. That evening, Arya goes to Leon's study. She watches Leon writing, wanting to say something. Leon notices her gaze. He puts down his pen and comes over, saying, "You seem like you have something to tell me." Arya hesitates for a moment. Finally, she asks, "Leon, why did you make me your assistant?" Leon explains, "I want Arya to work under me to awaken your beastfolk abilities." Arya repeats in confusion, "My abilities?" She's never noticed any. Leon nods and says beastfolk have specific abilities depending on their ancestral animal. He gives examples. Cat beastfolk can see clearly in the dark and have exceptional jumping abilities. Wolf beastfolk have great strength and keen senses of smell. Each has their specialty. And the rarer the beastfolk, the stronger their innate abilities. Leon admits he doesn't know what Arya's ancestral animal is, so he hopes she'll gradually discover her potential. Arya realizes that as a beastfolk, she doesn't know what her ancestry or abilities are. Seeing her lost in thought, Leon gently calls her name and asks worriedly if she's okay. Arya snaps back and hurriedly says she was just overthinking again. Leon reassures her that he'll eventually discover Arya's abilities. She shouldn't worry too much. Arya says seriously, "I want to repay you, Leon. Real experience must be important, right?" She continues pleading, "I want to discover my abilities quickly to help you, Leon. So please take me on this trip." Leon finally understands. So this is what she wanted to talk about. Today's enthusiasm was all about this. Arya says urgently, "I won't cause trouble. I'll listen to everything you say, Leon." Leon is amused by her adorable expression and lets out a hearty laugh. Arya freezes. This is the first time she's seen Leon laugh so happily. Her heart pounds wildly, deeply captivated by Leon's smile. Leon says with a smile, "Since you want this so much, Arya, I understand." Arya says in disbelief, "Really?" Her voice full of delight. Leon reaches out and pats her head. He says gently, "Yes, you've grown up well." Arya says somewhat shyly, "I told you I'm not a child anymore." Leon apologizes with a smile, then urges her to go rest. Arya runs off shyly, her steps light as she passes by Cade. Cade turns to look. He notices Arya's ears are noticeably flushed. He says helplessly, "Are these two playing house?" Cade approaches the study and asks Leon, "Is this okay? Just letting her come along like this?" He worries. "This is undercover investigation. It's dangerous. What if she's discovered?" But Leon smiles confidently and says, "Don't I have things covered?" Cade is speechless. Well, that's true, but this guy's absolute confidence irritates him a bit. Cade pulls out documents and says, "Anyway, I've gathered all the intel. Let's plan the operation." Before departure, Arya says excitedly that she's only seen undercover investigations in mystery novels. At this point, Leon notices Arya is far away from them. He asks puzzledly if Arya feels uncomfortable. Arya explains, "Don't worry about it." She thinks shyly that lately Leon is bad for her heart, so she needs to keep her distance. Leon informs them of the mission. "We're heading to Ashford Manor now to conduct an undercover investigation. We need to gather information about the missing person, Marcus." Arya asks curiously how they'll successfully infiltrate the manor. Leon responds, "We'll just disguise ourselves as job applicants." So the three disguise themselves as maids and come to apply. They all pass the head butler's interview at Ashford Manor. But this maid work is truly much harder than Arya imagined. She often accidentally causes trouble. Arya carries a water bucket while thinking about how to gather intelligence. She looks up and is startled by the scene before her. She sees Cade cleaning windows at incredible speed. Even the high places are already done. Everyone marvels at how fast that was. In no time, the windows are sparkling clean. Arya can't help praising, "Wow, Cade is amazing. Those skills are incredible." At this moment, mocking voices from other servants reach them. "Ugh, the stench of beasts is awful." They whisper among themselves that no human could move that fast. Cade must be beastfolk. Arya feels fear hearing the discriminatory remarks, not understanding why they say such things. Cade comes over and calls to Arya, pulling her from her fear as she snaps back to reality. Cade is about to say something when Arya realizes she's spilled water all over the floor. The head butler's angry scolding comes again, making Arya jump. Cade criticizes Arya. "Are you an idiot? How did you get water everywhere?" Arya mutters to herself. "How can you just casually call someone an idiot?" The head butler urgently calls for the new hire again, and Arya quickly responds, "Coming." The head butler then assigns her a series of tasks. Arya hurriedly agrees. She carries a pile of heavy quilts and rushes off, but she accidentally steps on one of the quilts. She falls hard, the quilts scattering everywhere, leaving her thoroughly disheveled. Time flies quickly, and soon it's sunset. Arya sighs wearily. She spent the whole day doing menial servant work with no progress on the important mission. Then she sees Leon from the balcony. Bathed in the sunset glow, Leon in a maid's outfit looks extraordinarily beautiful. Arya can't help admiring how beautiful Leon looks. Leon also notices Arya on the balcony. He smiles and waves at her. Arya smiles and waves back, resolving to properly gather intelligence tomorrow. So the next day, Arya proactively asks other servants if they know Marcus. The servants she asks all shake their heads, saying they don't know. So Arya asks another servant, "Excuse me, do you know Marcus?" The person responds, "I don't know, not sure. Is there a servant by that name?" With no other choice, Arya continues asking others, but everyone says they don't know this person. Arya continues running breathlessly. How does no one know Marcus? No matter how many people, she asks. The answer is always don't know. She worries that at this rate she can't help Leon at all and starts getting anxious. Just then, Cade's voice cuts through. He says discontentedly, "Are you announcing to everyone that you're conducting an undercover investigation?" Arya suppresses her anger, thinking to herself how this person's attitude is so terrible. Cade continues criticizing. "This is why rookies are useless. Leon really shouldn't have brought you to cause trouble." Arya fires back, "Hey, have you gathered any useful intelligence?" She continues, "Just how great are you? You have an opinion about everything I do." She emphasizes, "I'm only being patient for Leon's sake." "You act like a child," Cade retorts furiously. Do you know how old I am? How dare you be so rude?" Arya doesn't back down. "So what if I know? Your behavior screams 10-year-old child." The two face off in a standoff. At this moment, a maid walks over and interrupts. "Excuse me." The two turn to look. They see a gentle-looking girl slowly approaching them. The maid asks, "You're Arya, right?" Arya nods and says yes. The maid smiles and introduces herself. "Starting today, I'm your supervisor. My name is Cecilia." Cecilia gestures for Cade to come with them to rest in their new room. Arya and Cade follow behind Cecilia, each with their own thoughts. Arya wonders to herself if Cecilia might know anything about Marcus. She gathers her courage and asks, Cecilia, have you heard of Marcus?" Cade is speechless. "You're asking about this again?" However, to their surprise, Cecilia says with certainty that she knows. At these words, both are shocked. Cecilia asks curiously why they're asking about Marcus and if they know him. Arya is at a loss for words. Cade says in time, "Marcus recommended us for this job, but we haven't seen him since arriving at the manor. It's strange." Cecilia realizes. "Marcus left his position a month ago." Arya gasps in shock. "He left?" Cade says quickly. "We haven't been in touch for a while." Cecilia expresses understanding and starts worrying if something happened to Marcus. Arya asks in confusion, "But why doesn't anyone know Marcus?" "It's so strange," Cecilia explains, "because people here have no interest in knowing beastfolk names." Arya says indignantly that it's terrible. Cecilia reassures her it's okay. She's also beastfolk but doing fine. Arya asks in surprise, "Cecilia, you're beastfolk? I couldn't tell at all." Cecilia responds with a smile. "Pure-blooded beastfolk look no different from humans, so you can't tell." She then urges, "Let's go quickly. We need to move to the new room." Arya quickly agrees. Cade suddenly calls out to her, "Wait a moment." He then hands her a piece of paper, pressing it into her hand. Arya takes it and discovers it's actually a map. Cade explains this is a map of the manor he figured out in one night. He instructs Arya to hide it well. Arya is shocked. He gathered this much information in just one night. Cade continues with a serious reminder to be careful. Even fellow beastfolk shouldn't be trusted completely. After saying this, he turns and leaves. The next day, Cecilia tells Arya that today's work is cleaning the first-floor hallway windows. Arya wrings out the rag while thinking sadly that Cade is indeed skilled enough to criticize her clumsiness. But Cade is an investigator. Of course, he's skilled at this, so she should be angry. Cecilia calls to Arya, saying that's not how you wring out a rag. It should be done like this. Arya realizes. "Oh, I see." Cecilia teases that Arya looks like a noble lady who's never done any work. She compliments Arya's beautiful hands, saying they don't look like working hands. Arya explains nervously, "Really? I hadn't even noticed." Cecilia then asks Arya to fetch some soap. Arya quickly agrees and runs off. She thinks anxiously that she needs to be more careful. She can't help complaining. Undercover investigation is so hard. If she's discovered, not only will she be in trouble, but she'll cause problems for Leon too. She resolves firmly that she can't cause trouble for Leon. She absolutely cannot make mistakes. Arya passes by a window and hears people inside talking about Cecilia. She hears someone say the last client was very satisfied with Cecilia and that she's beastfolk. She sneaks a peek and hears them say beastfolk can be sold for more money. Arya's heart tightens. Is Cecilia going to be sold? This is terrible! Arya suspects Marcus's disappearance must be related to this. She's extremely anxious. She needs to tell Leon quickly that Cecilia is in danger. On the other side, the servants are fawning over Leon. They notice Leon looks even more beautiful sweating, just like an angel. They discuss all sorts of ridiculous things. Someone says they want to be Leon's handkerchief to wipe his sweat. One male servant even says he wants to put a ring on him. Such audacity. So the others beat him up together. At this moment, Arya in the distance is waving her hand, signaling Leon to come over. So Leon finds an excuse and walks over. As he approaches, Arya grabs his arm tightly. In her urgency, she actually pins Leon against the wall. She says anxiously, "Leon, something big is happening. I heard something terrible." But Leon raises an eyebrow and asks curiously, "Arya, where did you learn that move?" Arya realizes what she's doing, her face flushing to her ears as she quickly apologizes. After hearing her account, Leon nods thoughtfully and says, I see. Arya says seriously that since she shares a room with Cecilia, she can secretly prevent it. Leon responds gently, then I'll have to trouble you to keep a close watch. Arya didn't expect Leon to trust her so much. She asks in disbelief, really? Leon nods in confirmation, saying he'll promptly relay the situation to Cade. After saying this, he gently touches her hair, making Arya extremely shy. Leon continues gently ruffling her hair with tender affection. He then says with a smile, you accidentally got some dust in your hair. Arya thanks him stiffly, then says goodbye, mentioning she needs to run errands. Leon smiles and encourages her to do her best. Arya nods stiffly in response. Leon watches her flustered retreat and mutters to himself, hoping he won't need to use the tracking spell he placed on her. Arya returns to the window and continues cleaning, her heart pounding wildly again. Cecilia nearby notices her unusual expression. She asks curiously what happened. Arya hurriedly says nothing. She quickly diverts her attention to work, reminding herself to stay calm. Right now, she needs to focus on protecting Cecilia and can't get distracted. Arya racks her brain thinking about how to safely protect Cecilia. She makes up her mind and enthusiastically invites Cecilia to have afternoon tea together later. Cecilia is somewhat surprised and asks, afternoon tea? Arya explains that she wants to get to know Cecilia better and grow closer. Cecilia is even more confused. Why specifically get to know her? Arya says seriously, because I want to develop a more intimate relationship with you, Cecilia. At these words, Cecilia is both shocked and delighted. Her cheeks begin to burn involuntarily, and she stammers, not knowing how to respond. Seeing this, Arya mutters to herself, did the book get the friend-making method wrong? Cecilia says somewhat shyly that they haven't known each other long and she's not mentally prepared yet. Arya is confused. Does making friends require mental preparation in advance? Cecilia then realizes it's not what she thought, so she agrees with a smile that after work, she'll prepare refreshments to bring back to their room to share. Arya immediately agrees with a smile, looking forward to the afternoon tea. That evening, Arya is carefully preparing an elegant afternoon tea in their room. Cecilia walks in carrying a plate of cookies, saying the kitchen happened to have some left over. The two sit together for tea, and Cecilia sighs that Arya is truly a remarkable person. Arya blinks her round eyes and asks in confusion, why do you say that? Cecilia explains that most people don't deliberately make friends at work. Arya laughs awkwardly, not realizing there was such an unwritten rule. Cecilia hugs her warm teacup and sighs. Moreover, being a foreign beastfolk, she's inevitably shunned. Arya quickly rises from her seat and urgently calls to Cecilia. She says excitedly, I'm also beastfolk. Cecilia is surprised, saying she couldn't tell Arya was beastfolk at all. Arya lowers her eyes and hesitates for a moment, saying quietly she's considered half-blood beastfolk. Cecilia's pupils dilate in shock again. Half-blood beastfolk features are usually very obvious. Arya explains softly that she's a child born from a human mother and beastfolk father. Cecilia nods thoughtfully, but Arya doesn't look like half-blood beastfolk. She patiently explains that pure-blooded beastfolk can freely transform between human and beast forms with their human form indistinguishable from humans, but half-bloods can't fully transform. Their human form retains animal characteristics, so half-bloods are easily distinguished in a crowd. Arya quickly says she also has distinctive features. She just hides them well. After saying this, she lowers her head slightly and carefully reveals the small horns hidden in her hair. Cecilia leans in curiously to look at Arya's small horns. Her mouth opens in surprise, speechless. Arya thinks hopefully, will Cecilia know what her ancestral animal is? But Cecilia asks with a curious expression, what animal's horns are these? Arya shakes her head with slight disappointment, saying she doesn't really know either. Cecilia then asks cautiously if she can touch them gently. Arya readily nods in agreement. Cecilia slowly extends her hand. Her fingertips gently caress the small horns on Arya's head. Arya can't help letting out a soft sound, her cheeks flushing. The sound startles even herself. She didn't expect to make such a strange noise. Face completely red. She thinks no one has ever touched her horns before. She didn't know they were so sensitive. Cecilia says with a smile, it seems this is quite a sensitive area. Arya feels embarrassed because this is the first time anyone has touched her horns. Cecilia understands. Everyone has sensitive areas. She's sensitive about her tail too. Arya's eyes light up as she eagerly asks what kind of beastfolk Cecilia is. Cecilia responds that she's squirrel beastfolk. Arya's eyes sparkle as she shouts excitedly, oh my goodness, squirrel! I absolutely love squirrels! She says hopefully that she'd love to see Cecilia's beast form someday. Arya feels delighted. It's rare for her to make a female friend. This is the first time besides Leon that she's talked to someone for so long about personal things. On the other side, in the quiet East Wing, Cade looks at the excessively quiet environment, feeling it somewhat abnormal and eerie. He cautiously suggests they should sneak in first and observe the situation. But Leon responds calmly, no, I think we arrived right on time. Cade looks confused. At this moment, Leon turns his head and gestures toward the distance. Look, someone's already coming to greet us. Cade turns to look and indeed sees two people in black walking toward them. The newcomer sneers sinisterly. We really caught big fish. Besides that foolish girl, there are two more. Cade steps forward and demands, who are you? The person responds contemptuously. Spies about to die don't need to know who I am. On the other side, Arya finally wakes up and finds her surroundings unfamiliar and cold. Suddenly, a rough, unfamiliar voice sounds. "You're finally awake." The person greets her with a sinister smile. "Hello there, little beauty. Did you sleep well?" Arya freezes in shock, discovering cold chains around her neck. She demands warily, "Who are you?" The person sneers back. "I was going to ask you the same thing." He roughly grabs Arya's face and demands viciously, "Who are you? Why did you dare snoop around our territory?" Arya is frightened by his fierce demeanor, thinking how terrifying this is. Her feet are also locked in heavy chains. She thinks frantically, "Where is this place?" Arya suddenly thinks of Cecilia, worrying if she was also harmed and captured. So she urgently asks where Cecilia is. The person's expression changes slightly upon hearing Cecilia's name. He then shouts toward a dark corner, "Hey, she's looking for you," signaling Cecilia to come out. Cecilia slowly emerges from the shadows. Arya is instantly shocked upon seeing her, her entire body freezing. She asks in a trembling voice, unable to believe it, "Cecilia, are you one of them too?" Cecilia remains silent, her expression so cold it's impossible to read. The villain mocks triumphantly, "Don't you get it? The one who brought you here is this traitor Cecilia." Arya is too shocked to speak, her heart feeling like it's being viciously squeezed. She never imagined the friend she trusted would betray her. The person checks his pocket watch and says time's up. They can't delay any longer. After saying this, he roughly grabs Arya and says harshly they need to go. They then arrive at an auction hall where nobles specifically auction illegal goods. The auction hall is crowded with nobles looking expectant, waiting for the auction. The auctioneer delivers an enthusiastic speech, thanking the distinguished guests attending the underground auction. The auctioneer announces, "Now please allow me to introduce today's first item." Inside the dark, damp auction hall warehouse, Arya is firmly shackled with heavy iron chains. The villain informs Arya that she's today's grand finale item. Thinking about being auctioned off, Arya feels utterly desperate. She's filled with regret. She insisted on coming along, and now it's come to this. Arya thinks helplessly about what to do next. Leon must be worried about her. Suddenly, she hears a faint sound nearby, like something heavy falling. The villain from just now has collapsed beside her, motionless. Arya thinks fearfully, what's going on? Just as she's about to look, she hears a familiar, gentle voice softly calling her. It's Leon! She turns around in delighted surprise, about to speak. When Leon quickly covers her mouth, his movements gentle but urgent. He gestures for her not to make a sound. The moment she sees Leon, Arya's grievances surge up. Unable to hold back anymore, she throws herself into Leon's arms, crying loudly. Leon is somewhat at a loss seeing this. Arya's body trembles as she chokes out, "Leon, I was so scared!" Leon quickly strokes her back gently and responds tenderly, "It's okay now. I'm here." Leon's embrace is exceptionally warm and reassuring. Arya's body gradually stops trembling. She calms down and thinks shyly about how to pull away. At this moment, Leon asks gently, "Arya, are you feeling better now?" Arya's cheeks flush as she quickly moves away from his embrace. She says with a smile, "I'm better now." "Thank you for comforting me, Leon." She asks curiously, "How did you find this place?" And so quickly, Leon is about to answer when a voice interrupts them. A black cat suddenly speaks up. "Excuse me, are you two done? Let's get moving." Arya is utterly shocked. "Where did this cat come from? And it can talk." Leon responds helplessly, "I know, Cade." Arya gasps. "That's Cade." She suddenly realizes, this is a beastfolk's animal form. Cade is cat beastfolk. Leon explains that thanks to Cade's help, they were able to easily break in here. Cade urgently reminds them that magical explosives are planted everywhere. They need to leave quickly. Arya is shocked. "There are explosives hidden here." Cade nods. "These explosives detonate on signal. It looks like we can't catch them all in one net." Hearing this, Arya's eyes suddenly light up. She thinks of a brilliant escape plan. She says to them excitedly, "I have an idea!" The two people and one cat huddle together and conspire in hushed voices. They act immediately. Arya gets up and runs off. She rushes straight onto the bustling auction stage. She shouts to the crowd below, "Something terrible is happening!" The guests immediately start stirring, discussing what's happening. Arya continues shouting urgently, "The warehouse is about to explode! Everyone run!" Her cry triggers another wave of commotion, but clearly no one will believe a little girl's word alone. The guests discuss amongst themselves, curious about who this girl who suddenly burst out is. The auctioneer's eyes widen in fury as he grabs her hand, demanding, "How did you escape? And how do you know about the explosives?" Arya feigns composure and responds defiantly, "None of your business how I know!" The next second, a loud explosion sounds behind them. Both turn to look in fright. Their faces instantly pale. Arya mutters to herself, even though it's a fake explosion, it's incredibly realistic. The guests are terrified out of their wits, screaming that it's collapsing, and flee toward the exit in panic. Arya rejoices inwardly. The plan succeeded, using the fake explosion to herd people toward the exit. Leon walks out from the warehouse and asks with concern if Arya is all right. The auctioneer glares at Leon, demanding, "Who are you? Did you do this?" Leon completely ignores his shouting and walks straight toward Arya. The auctioneer shouts in exasperation, "What are you doing? Answer me!" Without a word, Leon gently pulls Arya into his arms protectively. He says coldly to the auctioneer, "How can you treat her so roughly?" The auctioneer becomes even angrier at being rebuked, but Leon continues to ignore him. him. Leon looks down and earnestly asks if Arya is hurt. Arya shakes her head with a flushed face, indicating she's fine. Leon sighs in relief, saying that's wonderful, seeing both of them so completely ignoring his existence. The auctioneer shouts furiously for the guards to come and arrest them both immediately. A large group of black-clad guards instantly surrounds them, menacingly blocking their way. The auctioneer snarls viciously, "Don't think you're leaving here alive today." However, the next second, the iron sewer door suddenly drops down, crashing toward the auctioneer. It turns out Cade in cat form jumped down from above the pipe. Cade has successfully locked all the doors. He's now returned to his human form, but he can't exactly be naked, so he turns his attention to the unconscious guard. On the other side, the guards are raising their guns, aiming at Leon and the others. Arya's pupils contract in shock. "Those are guns!" Leon shields Arya behind him, telling her to step back, then raises his hand to cast magic. He murmurs an incantation, and the magic takes effect immediately. The guards are instantly sent flying by an invisible force, bleeding from multiple wounds. Arya is frightened by the bloody scene before her whole body trembling. She remembers the image of her stepfather's family lying in pools of blood, her fear intensifying instantly. Arya tugs at Leon's sleeve, trembling, and asks, "You won't kill them, will you?" Leon turns to look at her and explains, "They want to take our lives. You don't need to sympathize." Arya's voice trembles as she pleads, "I don't want to see you kill people, Leon." Leon softens and agrees. "All right, I'll do as you say. I'll tie them up." Arya's tense nerves relax as she says softly, "Thank you, Leon." The auctioneer is secretly shocked. How is there a mage here? He needs to contact that lord quickly. However, when he turns to escape in the chaos, he sees Cade standing behind him, blocking his way. The auctioneer trembles in terror and demands, "Who are you?" Cade raises an eyebrow and responds impatiently, "Well, who are you?" The auctioneer responds with cold sweat on his forehead, "I asked you first." The next second, he's firmly tied up with rope, unable to move. Cade dusts off his hands and says to Leon, "We've caught most of them." He adds that, according to plan, he's locked all the exits. Those nobles who tried to escape have all been captured. Cade looks at Arya and praises, "That suggestion was actually pretty good." Arya is surprised he's actually complimenting her and quietly thanks him. Next, they just need to interrogate these people to find out the whereabouts of the missing. At this moment, Cecilia suddenly appears holding a gun and shouts, "Let those people go!" Arya gasps in shock. Cecilia, not expecting her sudden appearance. Cecilia grips the gun, thinking sadly that today is the last day. Why did things go wrong today of all days? Leon gathers magic in his palm, about to cast a counterspell. Arya suddenly calls out to stop him. "Leon, wait!" Arya looks directly at Cecilia, eyes red, and asks, "Why are you doing this?" Cecilia's expression is pained as she says, "It's to save my brother." Cecilia explains with her voice breaking that after her brother came to work at the manor with her, he suddenly disappeared. The villains threatened that if she lured 3 people to them, they'd return her brother. To save her brother, she had no choice but to agree to this demand. Cecilia looks at Arya with tears and says painfully, "You were the last target." Arya is utterly shocked. Cade's face darkens after hearing this. He immediately grabs the auctioneer by the collar and furiously demands, "Where did all the people who were sold go?" The auctioneer defends himself shamelessly. "I'm just an auctioneer. I don't know anything," he sneers. "Slaves that weren't sold? How naive. How could they possibly exist?" Cecilia falls to the ground in shock, her body going limp, at a complete loss. She murmurs to herself, "Then what have I been doing all this time?" Arya's heart aches seeing her, saying angrily, "This is too much." Cade angrily shoves the auctioneer away and says, "No point asking this guy. Let's ask those big shots." However, when he forcefully shoves open the door where the nobles are held, he's instantly stunned. The room is already empty. He shouts in shock, "What's going on?" The chains on the floor are all unlocked. Clearly someone released them in advance. Cade immediately realizes there's someone else behind this conspiracy. This guy is just a pawn, not the mastermind at all. Meanwhile, in the palace hall, the person behind the scenes says to the prince with a smile, "I didn't expect you to help clean up." The prince responds indifferently. After all, arresting too many nobles would affect the nation's foundation. He then asks with a half smile, "But someone has to take responsibility for this, right?" The mastermind says with a flattering smile, "You're scaring me again, your highness." However, the next second, the prince suddenly draws his sword, revealing the blade. Without hesitation, he thrusts it straight at his throat. The prince says coldly, "The bigger the case, the greater the credit when I resolve it." As his words fall, the mastermind collapses to the ground, dead. The ground suddenly shakes violently. He wonders if there was an explosion underground. At this moment, the underground auction hall begins shaking violently. Arya shouts in terror that the warehouse exploded. Seeing this, Leon thinks someone sent the signal to detonate the explosives. Leon immediately casts magic, saying he'll use magic to hold the foundation, but he can't hold it for long. Everyone needs to escape quickly. Arya immediately shouts to the bound guards, "If you can still move, come with us now." The auctioneer beside them mutters to himself, "Impossible. How could the explosives detonate?" Cade grumbles, "This guy is still muttering useless things at a time like this." Arya urges, "Stop talking and run for your life." The auctioneer suddenly remembers something and shouts, "You have other accomplices, don't you?" He says excitedly, "That person killed the master and triggered the explosion." The next second, a bullet actually grazes the auctioneer's face. Everyone hurriedly turns to look. They see Cecilia sitting on the ground in panic, and seeing she missed her target, she loses control again, closes her eyes and shouts to move aside, then pulls the trigger without hesitation. The wild bullet flies toward Arya. In the nick nick of time. Leon doesn't hesitate to shield Arya, taking the bullet for her. Cecilia sees that Leon was shot and is shocked beyond measure. The next second, her vision goes black and she faints. Cade runs to Leon's side and shouts in frustration, "You're a mage! Why did you use your body to block the bullet?" Leon smiles bitterly. Yeah, he thinks he actually could have stopped it with magic in time. But for some reason, his body moved first. Leon sighs. It seems I was really too impulsive to act like this. Arya looks at Leon's condition, on the verge of tears, not knowing what to do. Leon says weakly, "I'm fine, Arya. Don't worry." Arya's eyes are red, feeling both anxious and heartbroken. Leon suggests, "How about we escape first?" Arya quickly nods. Cade looks at the unconscious Cecilia and grumbles. That woman fainted herself. He sighs. Of all times to drop the ball, what a hassle. Cade picks up Cecilia and says, "I'll take care of her. Let's go quickly." However, Leon staggers somewhat. Clearly, the gunshot wound is causing him great pain. Seeing this, Arya immediately carries Leon bridal style like Cade did. Cade is dumbfounded at this scene. He can hardly believe his eyes. He silently grumbles that Arya's expression is so comical, yet her actions are so bold. Leon's expression is equally priceless. He can't help but burst out laughing. Leon relents and says, "Then I'm in your hands, Arya." Arya nods firmly. Suddenly someone shouts, "Ah, the exit!" Everyone's spirits lift. At this moment, the guards behind them all run ahead of them. They turn and jeer, "Who would obediently follow you?" Idiots! Cade fumes, those bastards. If only my hands were free right now. However, screams suddenly come from the exit. Arya wonders what happened. Cade has a general idea of what happened. He makes a split-second decision. "I know another exit. This way." The group immediately runs in the direction Cade indicated. Outside the auction hall, a knight reports to the prince that they've arrested all relevant personnel. At this moment, the prince suddenly catches sight of a familiar figure in the bushes. Feeling puzzled, Leon and the others arrive at a dilapidated house. Arya carries Leon into the villa and quickly finds a bed for him to lie down. Over here, Cade looks at the awakened Cecilia and says, "Now that you're awake, get down." Cecilia opens her eyes filled with guilt. Suddenly, someone rushes out from the shadows to attack Cade with swift movements. Cade reacts quickly, blocking and counterattacking. The person demands loudly, "Who are you?" Cade recognizes the voice in shock. The other person clearly recognizes him too. "You're Cade." Cade is equally shocked. "You're Marcus?" On the other side, Arya looks at Leon's wound, feeling deeply guilty. Leon sees Arya's dejected expression and asks what's wrong. Arya says sadly that she can't help with anything and has been a burden. In the end, she even caused Leon to get shot, and she made him sigh today. Hearing this, Leon softly calls Arya's name, then also says sorry. Arya is shocked. Why is Leon apologizing when it's clearly her fault? Leon explains, "I sighed because I saw you were scared and regretted bringing you. I didn't realize it would upset you." Arya quickly shakes her head. "No, I wasn't upset." Leon continues gently, "Arya, you can always be a burden to me." He holds Arya's hand reassuringly. "In the process of growing. Isn't this all very normal?" Leon praises. "Besides, Arya performed excellently today. I'm truly impressed." Seeing no response, he calls out, "Arya," only to find she's suddenly crying. Arya holds Leon's hand and cries loudly, her long-suppressed emotions finally erupting. The next second, a dazzling white light suddenly emanates from Arya's body. Arya is surprised. This light is coming from her body. What's happening to her? She looks at Leon, hoping he can give her an answer. She then looks down at the wound and discovers Leon's gunshot wound has actually healed. The prince outside sees the scene and is utterly shocked. "It's actually healing magic," he says with a smile, an unexpected windfall. On the other side, Cade looks at the person who suddenly appeared and asks in confusion how he's here. Marcus sighs, saying it's a long story. Just as he's about to speak, he catches sight of Cecilia and asks in surprise who she is. Cade explains, "This is Cecilia. You should know her. She mentioned you." Marcus realizes, "Of course I know her. She's the one who sold me out." Cecilia is confused. "Aren't you Eric? How did you become Marcus?" Cade hears the unfamiliar name and asks in confusion who Eric is. Marcus explains sheepishly that while traveling, he was scammed out of money and disguised himself as an imperial citizen to get work. Cade explodes in fury. "Are you insane? A friend of an investigator forging an identity? I came to this godforsaken place to find you." Marcus is delighted. "Wow, Cade, you came all this way to rescue me?" He's so moved he wants to hug Cade, but Cade blocks him. Cade then questions Cecilia, "You don't know Marcus. Why did you pretend to?" Cecilia apologizes frantically, her eyes full of guilt. Cade asks Marcus, "Weren't you sold at auction? How are you here?" Marcus recalls that while being transported to a buyer, a little squirrel appeared and helped him escape on the condition that he help with a favor. After escaping, they hid here, and that squirrel was Cecilia's brother. Cecilia is utterly shocked, unable to believe her brother is still alive. On the other side, after activating her ability, Arya falls asleep from exhaustion. Leon quietly watches her beside her. He recalls, when Arya first learned about her ability, she was incredibly excited. So her mother's warning not to cry easily was because of this. Arya worried if this was some kind of forbidden magic. Feeling anxious, Leon thinks to himself, she fell asleep immediately after activating her ability. How interesting. He thinks Arya will need training before she can master her magical power. He silently rejoices. It seems his curse will soon be lifted. At this moment, the prince suddenly appears. He asks Leon if he plans to use that to escape the palace. Leon rises in surprise. Prince Damien, how are you here? Damien says with a smile there's no need for formality. He happened to be handling business nearby. He adds that he happened to see the Duke and wanted to greet him, but witnessed something interesting. Damien says he won't report to His Majesty, but he wants something in return. He explains that he put a lot of effort into this incident, so he hopes Leon will back off. After Arya wakes up, she walks out together with Leon. They meet Marcus, whom they've been searching for, and Cecilia's brother Felix. Arya shouts happily, "Wow, wonderful! We found everyone we were looking for!" On the other side, Cecilia clenches her fists, gathers her courage, and apologizes to everyone. She bows sincerely and says she'll accept whatever punishment she's given. Arya looks at Leon, her eyes pleading. Seeing this, Leon smiles gently and nods, indicating he doesn't mind. So Arya walks up to Cecilia and says, "Your betrayal did hurt me." Cecilia closes her eyes, prepared to be punished. But the next second, she hears Arya say her punishment with a smile. She announces, "Cecilia, then your punishment is to be my friend for life." Cecilia is stunned. What kind of punishment is this? She's moved to tears. Cecilia cries like this for a long time, releasing her guilt and joy. Everyone is very happy seeing this scene. To make amends, Cecilia and the others decide to search for the victims who were sold. Marcus joins them too. Arya and Leon bid them farewell and set out on their return journey. Cade suddenly remembers that Leon said he had a favor to ask after the incident ended. He recalls the day he visited the Duke's estate. Leon proposed an exchange for Cade to spend the rest of his vacation with Arya. Leon says he hopes Cade can teach Arya about beastfolk abilities. After she completes her duties at the estate, he'll take her back to where she belongs. That night, Arya dreamed that everyone admired her. People surrounded her with praise, saying Lady Arya's healing magic was amazing. However, her mother appeared in the dream and scolded Arya sternly. "Didn't I tell you not to cry in front of others?" Arya calls out to her mother pitifully. Her mother hugs her and says, "Please don't make this difficult for me anymore." Arya nods. She suddenly wakes up with a start and finds everything around her quiet. It was just a dream. She hugs her blanket, relieved that only Leon saw her ability. The next day, Leon announces that as previously agreed, Cade will be responsible for teaching Arya about beastfolk. Arya asks in surprise, "Won't you be teaching me, Leon?" Cade grumbles, "You're pretty blunt." Arya hurriedly explains, "I didn't mean you're not good." She explains that aside from when she was little, Leon has always taught her, so switching teachers feels strange. Cade shouts in shock, not realizing Leon raised Arya himself. Leon explains that Cade understands beastfolk better than he does. He admits his last visit to the Varna Kingdom was 100 years ago, and many things are unclear now. Arya gasps in shock. 100 years? She can't believe Leon is that old. She asks curiously, "Leon, how old are you?" Cade leans in too, curious as well. Leon asks them with a smile, "How old do I look?" So the two stare at him, scrutinizing him for a while. Finally, Arya ventures, 200 years old? Leon laughs heartily. "So young. Let's say I'm 200 this year then." In the library, Arya looks at her book and mutters to herself. He dodged the question. It's so hard to pry information from him. Cade suddenly calls to her. "Hey, stop spacing out and focus on studying." Arya apologizes hurriedly. Cade tells her to read the founding legend of the Varna Kingdom again. Arya reads aloud. The history of the Varna Kingdom begins with a legendary dragon. She reads, "The dragon flew to the edge of the Western Sea, and the ground beneath its feet rose to form islands. All kinds of animals came and, after receiving the dragon's blessing, took human form. From then on, they looked almost identical to humans but retained their ancestral traits. These are the beastfolk." Cade adds after listening that beastfolk lived in isolation and only recently had contact with the Empire. Arya suddenly calls out to Cade, questioning that according to the legend, the book's description of dragon beastfolk is wrong. She analyzes that even if a dragon takes human form, it shouldn't be considered beastfolk. It should still be a dragon. Cade praises her. "You're pretty sharp." That's a good question. He explains that this book was written by imperial people. According to the legend, the dragon is the god of beastfolk, but humans refuse to acknowledge it as divine. After hearing this, Arya finally understands the reason. Cade adds that he doesn't really believe dragons exist. He's never seen one himself. After all, only legends about dragons have been passed down, but there are a few dragon statues. Arya's eyes light up at this, excitedly saying she wants to see them. Cade is surprised she's so interested in statues. Arya asks if they can see the dragon statue by going to the Varna Kingdom. Cade responds that the Varna Kingdom gave the Empire several statues to commemorate a peace agreement. He can ask Leon. That evening, Arya is in her room balancing several books on her head to practice concentration. She thinks to herself that while Cade is harsh, he's sometimes very kind, hard to figure out. Suddenly, she hears knocking. Arya asks in confusion, "Who is it?" Leon's voice comes from outside. "It's me." Arya quickly says to come in. As soon as Leon enters, he asks Arya if he heard something. Did something happen? The books on Arya's head fell, and she's falling too. Seeing this, Leon immediately casts magic. Both Arya and the scattered books float up. He gently catches Arya. He asks with concern if she's alright and if she's hurt. Arya quickly nods, saying she's fine and he doesn't need to worry. Leon then sits down and says he heard she wants to see the dragon statue. Arya nods in confirmation. Leon asks in confusion, "Arya, don't you hate going to the fief?" Arya responds with a flushed face. It's okay. With you there, Leon, I'm not scared at all. After saying this, she realizes she spoke her true feelings and suddenly feels embarrassed. Leon says gently, "Thank you, Arya. Let's prepare to depart soon then." So, the next day, the three prepare to head to the fief together. Just as they're about to leave, a messenger bird suddenly arrives with an urgent message. Arya suddenly feels a chill, a strong sense of foreboding rising within her. As she feared, the summons is from the palace. Leon says he can't go with them, so now it's just her and Cade alone. Arya thinks to herself that talking about knowledge while studying isn't awkward, but alone, she doesn't know what to talk about. She wails inwardly, "Leon, come back quickly!" At this moment, Cade points ahead and says to go this way. The statue is placed in a park near the temple. Arya immediately agrees. Cade silently grumbles that Arya's emotions are written all over her face. On the other side, Leon arrives at the palace thinking this place is unpleasant no matter how many times he visits. He encourages himself, just endure a bit longer and he can escape this detestable place. Leon arrives at the study and bows to the Emperor. The Emperor welcomes him with a smile and gestures for him to sit quickly. Leon responds respectfully. The Emperor explains he summoned him to invite him to dinner. Leon asks in confusion, "Dinner?" The Emperor nods, saying Leon has served the royal family for many years and he's always considered him family. Leon is secretly annoyed. How can this person say such things? Family? What a joke! Using that despicable contract to bind him for hundreds of years. This family that's been exploiting him now has the audacity. Leon quickly reaches the corridor thinking he needs to escape as soon as possible. The princess suddenly appears and calls to him, saying delightedly, "I knew it was you." On the other side, Arya is still spacing out, wondering what Leon is doing. She suddenly snaps back to reality. She realizes no one is beside her and gasps, "Where did Cade go?" Arya looks around calling for Cade. Not paying attention ahead, she accidentally bumps into a passerby. The person complains irritably, "Don't stand in the middle of the road looking around." Arya apologizes frantically. She's very flustered. She spaced out for a moment and got separated from Cade. What should she do? Arya resolves to find him quickly. She can't get lost here. At this moment, vendors call from the street. Fresh apples on sale. Just as Arya is about to pay attention, she sees a crowd rushing to buy them, shouting, "They're mine! Everyone move!" The crowd pushes forward. Arya is pushed along, anxiously saying, "Excuse me." She can't keep her balance in the crush and cries out, "Ah, wait!" Arya instinctively reaches out her hand. Suddenly, someone firmly grasps her hand. She wonders who it is, looks up, and sees it's Cade. She instantly relaxes. Cade pulls her out of the crowd. He says irritably, "Didn't I tell you to stay close?" Arya is deeply moved, her eyes reddening as she calls his name. "Thank goodness you found me, Cade!" Cade looks at her emotional state and wonders what's wrong with her. Why so dramatic? Arya grips his hand tightly and says, "I thought I really got separated from you. Thank you for coming back to find me." Cade feels his hand being held tightly. Embarrassed, he jerks his hand away. Arya freezes. What's wrong? Did she say something wrong? Cade comes to his senses and apologizes hurriedly. "Sorry," he then suggests awkwardly. Hold on to me so you don't get lost again." Seeing Arya say nothing, he calls out defensively, "What are you standing there for? Are we going or not? We won't see the statue if we're too late." Arya quickly reaches out her hand and responds, "Let's go." She then grips his hem tightly as they walk forward together. She thinks to herself that Cade is even kinder than she imagined. As they walk, Arya suddenly points ahead and says, "Hey, I see the temple." She shouts excitedly, "The statue should be in the park behind it." Looking in the direction of the temple, Cade says he sees it. Over there. Walking closer, Arya marvels that the statue is even more massive and magnificent than she imagined. Arya admires it. The carving is so lifelike. It's as if a real dragon is before her. She can't contain her curiosity. She approaches the statue step by step, wanting to see more clearly. As if called by something, she can't help reaching out. Her palm touches the statue, and the moment she touches it, the statue suddenly emits a dazzling white light. Cade is startled by this sudden turn of events. "What's happening?" he shouts anxiously at Arya. "Hey, are you okay?" However, Arya can't hear anything. Her consciousness is as if in another world. An unfamiliar scene flashes before her eyes. In the scene, she sees a young beastfolk fall and get injured, crying from pain. Suddenly, someone comes and casts magic, a soft glow emanating from their fingertips. White light envelops the two young beastfolk, warm and healing. The injured beastfolk is instantly healed. A happy smile appears on their face. Arya vaguely hears a conversation. The young beastfolk seems to be saying, "Thank you, sacred dragon." She suddenly snaps back to reality. She finds Cade looking at her anxiously. Cade holds her in his arms, anxiously asking if she's all right. After recovering, Arya excitedly stands up and shouts, "I saw it!" Cade is confused. He has no idea what she's talking about. Arya gestures excitedly, explaining that when she touched the statue, she heard voices thanking the sacred dragon in her head. Cade is skeptical. He reaches out to touch the statue but feels nothing. He's puzzled. "I don't feel anything." Arya is also confused. Why can only she sense it? Suddenly someone shouts, "You two over there, what are you doing?" The two turn around. They discover it's Temple, guards, and panic immediately. Cade thinks this is bad. Getting caught will definitely be trouble. He grabs Arya and runs. As Arya is pulled along running, she thinks, "Can only I see those images?" She boldly speculates, "Do I have some special connection to the dragon?" The two run into the street. Arya asks excitedly if she could be that missing dragon. Cade responds calmly, "I don't think that's very likely." Arya realizes, "Oh right, I have parents." She thinks of another possibility. Maybe I'm the dragon's reincarnation. Cade glances at her excited expression and explains helplessly that the stone used to carve the statue comes from the sacred stone mountain where the dragon lived. Cade analyzes that the memories of beast folk from the mountain might have been magically etched into the stone. Arya says with disappointment, I see. She mutters that because she has healing abilities, she associated herself with the dragon. Cade suddenly catches on. Healing abilities? That's your power? Arya freezes. Ah, you found out. On the other side, at the palace banquet, the Emperor suddenly asks Leon if the Duke still hasn't married. Leon nods in response. The Emperor sighs that everyone needs an equal partner, but the Duke's lifespan is different from ordinary people. It seems he doesn't want to burden others. Leon is about to respond when someone suddenly reports something to the Emperor, so the Emperor stands to leave, telling them to continue dining. The princess waves goodbye to him with a smile. Leon wonders. The Emperor rarely summons him to the palace. Today is unusual. The princess suddenly speaks. Does the Duke want to know why His Majesty said those things? Leon looks up in confusion. The princess says with a smile, Actually, I asked His Majesty to do this because I want to be engaged to you. Leon instantly understands. No wonder His Majesty specifically summoned him. After processing this, he shows a surprised expression. On the other side, on the bustling street, Arya looks at the food in her hands. So happy she could jump. She exclaims, Wow, there's so much delicious food on the streets at night. But Cade beside her is unusually agitated, frowning and pacing. He thinks impatiently. Leon should have at least told him what her ability is. Cade turns to look around and finds Arya has disappeared again. Just as he's about to shout and look for her, he sees Arya standing alone longingly at a jewelry stall. Cade walks up and asks, What are you looking at so intently? Arya points at a pair of moon-shaped earrings and says, Look at these. They definitely suit Leon. Cade grumbles to himself. She's completely devoted to Leon. Hopeless. Arya turns to look at Cade, eyes sparkling, and asks if he'd like them. Cade doesn't answer directly but asks, What about you? Isn't there anything you want? Arya looks confused, not expecting him to suddenly ask her this. Cade becomes embarrassed after saying this. Why did he say that? So awkward. Then Arya answers seriously, I really haven't thought about it. The two fall into awkwardness again, the air growing quiet. Then Cade points to the jewelry stall and says, Like these small trinkets. Arya looks over and responds, Oh, this is too cute. It doesn't suit Leon. Cade facepalms helplessly. I meant for you, he explains. Thanks to your help last time. Consider this a thank you gift. Arya wonders to herself, what's wrong with him? Why is he suddenly acting so strange? She secretly speculates, did he eat something wrong? But they ate the same things. Arya's eyes suddenly light up and she asks, Could it be you've fallen for me? Cade is instantly annoyed and says irritably, Fine, if you don't want it. Arya quickly stops him. I want it. Thank you for the gift. She then lowers her head, thinking things she wants. She really hasn't thought about it seriously. Arya looks up at Cade with a smile. Since it's a gift from you, Cade, you pick it. Cade looks puzzled. Why do I have to pick? Arya explains that all the jewelry is too pretty. She really can't choose. She adds that something Cade personally selects would be more meaningful. Cade is speechless and resignedly helps her choose carefully. His gaze sweeps across the stall, and his eyes light up when he sees a butterfly accessory. So he picks up the accessory and walks to Arya's side, gently holding it up to her ear to compare. He says seriously, This one's nice. Delicate and suits you well. Cade hands her the accessory. Arya quickly thanks him and receives it with both hands. Arya puts on the accessory and turns to smile at Cade. Her smile especially radiant and dazzling. Cade looks away embarrassed, mumbling M&M, his ears slightly flushed. He then tells the vendor he'll take it and immediately pays for the accessory. At this moment, someone nearby shouts loudly, The special performance at the plaza is about to start. Arya's eyes light up after hearing this, her face full of anticipation. She says excitedly to Cade, There's a performance! I really want to see it! She turns back to urge Cade, Come on, let's hurry and get a good spot. Cade grumbles, not knowing who it was that was too embarrassed to talk at first. Arya responds with a smile that today she discovered Cade is a very kind person. She adds that when she was in a daze at the statue, Cade kept calling her name. Cade asks awkwardly, You heard all that? Arya answers with a smile. I heard it very clearly. Didn't miss a single word. Looking at Arya's smile, Cade's heartbeat suddenly accelerates, ripples spreading through his heart. He thinks to himself, the streetlights that day were exceptionally bright, and her smile even more so. On the other side, in the resplendent palace, Leon has a strong sense of foreboding. He needs to return to the estate quickly. At this moment, the princess gracefully approaches and softly calls to him. She asks with surprise, You're leaving so soon? Leon responds respectfully, Princess, something came up at the estate. I was planning to hurry back. The princess looks regretful. That's too bad. I wanted to spend more time with the Duke. Seeing Leon about to say something, she interrupts first. I don't want to be rejected a second time. Seeing this, Leon says no more, bows respectfully and turns to leave. The princess sees him off, with a smile, her gaze following his retreating figure. Her eyes gradually grow cold, a sneer curling at the corner of her mouth. She can't help frowning in disgust and asking, Is it really necessary to go this far? The lady-in-waiting steps forward to explain, of course. After all, few men can handle your highness's true nature. The princess immediately glares back sharply. She sighs helplessly. Still, that person is truly impeccable. No wonder he hasn't married in hundreds of years. The lady-in-waiting raises an eyebrow teasingly. Are you planning to give up? The princess quickly shakes her head. What are you saying? He's my only hope right now. She suddenly remembers something. By the way, how's that scoundrel been lately? The lady-in-waiting responds truthfully that Prince Damien was last spotted near the Duke's estate. At this moment, at the entrance to Duke Leon's estate, Arya says goodbye to Cade with a smile, saying she had a great time today and will see him tomorrow. She thinks happily that she'll share today's fun moments with Leon when she gets back. Suddenly, she stops. She feels someone's presence in the shadows. At this moment, a low voice sounds. Hello. Arya turns and discovers a man with white hair and red eyes staring at her. Damien says with a smile, I've been waiting for you for quite a while, his eyes carrying an inscrutable meaning. Arya looks at the unfamiliar man before her, her mind full of questions. Who is this person? Arya asks warily. Who are you? But Damien smiles and leans closer. Guess. Arya quickly steps back. Her mind races in confusion. He wants me to guess? Who is this person? She carefully observes his silver hair and red eyes. She suddenly recalls what she learned in history class. Silver hair and red eyes are proof of direct royal lineage. Arya guesses in shock. Could you be the crown prince? Who knew Damien would pull Arya to his side and say, pretty close, but wrong? He looks Arya over. Quite beautiful. So the Duke likes this type. Arya is flustered, not understanding why he'd say such a thing. She feels Damien has no intention of letting go, growing increasingly uneasy. Damien says he came to see Leon, but since he's not here, he hopes she can keep him company. Arya is speechless. This person is insane. She retorts, why should I listen to you? Not expecting her to defy him directly, Damien's brow furrows. Arya panics inwardly, finding his gaze sinister and terrifying. Who knew Damien would suddenly burst out laughing, finding Arya's reaction particularly amusing. Arya thinks speechlessly to herself, what's amusing about this? She feels sharp pain in her hand and urgently begs him to let go. But Damien says matter-of-factly, didn't I say I'm bored waiting? If you can amuse me, I'll let you go. The next second he says, let me see your ability. Like healing magic or something. Arya wonders. How does Damien know about my ability? She hurriedly denies it. I don't know that kind of magic. Please let me go. But Damien's expression darkens. Why are you lying to me? I hate lies most. Arya shouts frantically in her mind. What do I do? What do I do? I'm done for. She forces herself to calm down. She needs to think of a way to escape. She can't just wait for doom. Arya suddenly remembers the faint magical fluctuations she vaguely sensed back then. Arya concentrates all her mental energy and tries to release reverse healing magic, and succeeds. Damien suddenly feels dizzy and his body sways. He unconsciously releases Arya's hand and demands in shock how she can do such a thing. His eyes flash with fervor as he becomes excited, saying he wants to try again. Arya quickly backs away repeatedly. Damien is completely insane. So terrifying. In the nick of time, Leon returns and pulls Arya into his arms protectively. Damien greets him with a cold smirk. Good evening. The Duke arrived quite quickly. Arya sees Leon and calls his name with delight and grievance, her voice breaking. Leon looks down and asks gently with concern if Arya's hurt, his eyes full of worry. Then he suddenly turns to Damien, calling his name in an icy tone. He demands, how are you here? We already agreed on terms. Damien quickly explains, misunderstanding. I just happened to pass by and wanted to say hello. He then changes the subject, asking if dinner with His Majesty was pleasant. He adds with a smile that he was worried before, but now it seems he was overthinking. Damien teases, it seems the Duke is very fond of this child. The princess appears to have no chance. Damien asks curiously, is she your lover? Leon quickly denies they have that kind of relationship. Arya's face instantly turns crimson. Damien raises an eyebrow, thinking the child doesn't seem to think so. Leon says sternly, you came even though you knew I wasn't here. You must have other motives. Damien admits frankly, because I wanted to confirm how you're doing. Hearing this, Leon looks down at the blushing Arya in his arms, his resolve strengthening. He holds Arya tighter and demands, are you planning to use this child to threaten me? Damien responds with a smile. Threaten? In a sense, you're not wrong. He looks at Arya and asks, she's important to the Duke, isn't she? Damien leaves a warning to watch himself, then turns and leaves. The next day, Arya recalls last night's encounter in her dream, feeling her heart beating so fast she could suffocate. The intense suffocation makes her suddenly wake with a start, gasping for breath in shock. She recovers and looks around. Confirming this is her room, she finally relaxes. At this moment, Leon's gentle voice sounds. Feeling better, Arya? Arya looks up to see Leon by her bed and screams loudly in fright. Leon asks in surprise, Arya, why are you suddenly frightened? Cade hears this and rushes in, anxiously asking what happened. Arya hugs her blanket, asking in confusion why he's in her room. Leon explains patiently that Arya seems to have caught a cold and fainted yesterday. He gestures to the breakfast on the table, saying he brought breakfast and needs to check her temperature. He beckons to Arya to come over so he can check her temperature. Arya blushes again. Leon's face is too dazzling. She can't look directly at him. Her heartbeat accelerates, again. Her mind in chaos, her heart pounding rapidly. Leon notices her abnormality, his eyes full of concern as he asks if she's all right. Arya recalls the past. This has happened before. If she keeps her distance, the symptoms disappear. She resolves that Leon must leave, or things will get worse. so she loudly says she's fine. She musters courage to ask Leon to leave. Leon is stunned, completely not expecting to be kicked out. The next second, he's shown the door. He asks Cade helplessly if Arya has hit her rebellious phase. Cade can't help grumbling. That's enough. How should I know what she's thinking? Cade calls Leon's name seriously. Leon responds with a hum, quietly waiting for him to continue. Before leaving, Cade makes clear he won't interfere with what Leon wants to do, so don't drag him into it. He regrets resentfully that he shouldn't have gone out with Arya yesterday. Cade is extremely agitated. This feeling of his heart being pulled is too uncomfortable. Before long, in the study, Arya sits across from Leon, her expression complex as she drinks tea with her head lowered. Arya's face is flushed, her heart racing. She's freaking out inwardly. Why won't her heartbeat calm down? At this moment, Leon speaks first, apologizing to Arya. He says yesterday was all because of him that Arya experienced such unpleasantness. Arya suddenly understands. He means that crazy person yesterday. Arya thinks to herself that Leon is always like this, blaming himself for everything. Leon explains that person is the Empire's second prince, Damian Valentinos Altares. Arya realizes he really is royalty. Leon continues slowly. The palace is all discussing the crown prince's legitimate status. Arya asks in surprise if it's because he's incompetent. Leon denies it. No, it's because his hair isn't the royal silver but reddish brown. Arya finds it hard to understand. Just because of hair color, they question legitimacy? Leon nods in response. Indeed, some people value these superficial symbols. Arya boldly speculates. So yesterday he came to threaten you, Leon, to support him? Arya continues. Because you wouldn't listen to him, Leon. So he planned to use me. Who's special to you? Her cheeks turn crimson as she finishes. Leon's hand trembles at these words, and his cup falls. He asks in shock, did he say something to you? Arya freezes, wondering inwardly, what kind of reaction is this? Did she say something wrong? Leon continues apologizing, saying he shouldn't have let her find out this way. Arya's eyes widen. She has no idea what Leon is apologizing for. Leon says with a guilty expression that it's precisely because of that specialness that Prince Damian approached Arya. Arya quickly calls a stop. Wait, I completely don't understand what you mean, Leon. Leon asks in confusion. Didn't you hear from Prince Damian the reason you're special to me? Arya finally catches on, her cheeks instantly turning crimson again. She hastily stands up and makes an excuse that she still has homework to finish and needs to go. Arya apologizes as she quickly leaves, saying they can talk later. Let her go. Leon looks at the closed door, Arya's name on the tip of his tongue. The last syllable ultimately remains unspoken, leaving only silence. Left sitting there alone, he murmurs to himself that perhaps she won't forgive him after learning the truth. At this moment, on the other side, Arya is in the garden, blushing and freaking out, her heart racing ridiculously fast. How embarrassing. She's been reading too much into it all along. It's not at all what she thought. She's full of confusion. What exactly did that prince and Leon mean by special? Arya doesn't understand. Why does Leon feel sorry? At this moment, an unfamiliar voice suddenly sounds from above her. The person asks with a smile, "Hello, I'm looking for the Duke." Arya is startled by the sudden inquiry and gasps, "Who are you?" The person frowns slightly at these words and calls behind her, "Lillian." Lillian, dressed in a lady-in-waiting's outfit, responds respectfully. The person then shows displeasure. She asked first, yet this child dares to ask her back? She asks arrogantly if this child doesn't know who she is. Arya stares at the person's brilliant silver hair, her pupils contracting slightly. Her heart jolts. Could this be imperial royalty? Lady-in-waiting. Lillian keenly notices Arya's flustered expression. She steps forward half a step to shield the princess, saying, "Princess, isn't this a bit too harsh?" She then extends her hand gently. "Sorry, we seem to have frightened you." At this moment, Leon's familiar voice sounds from a distance. He quickly walks toward the princess and asks, "Why did you come without notice? Is there urgent business?" The princess nods with a smile. "Yes. Very urgent. I'm dying of sadness from not seeing you for a day, Leon." Arya's eyes widen in shock after hearing this. What's going on? She's completely confused. In the reception room, the princess leisurely drinks fragrant tea. Her gaze casually sweeps to Arya, who keeps staring at her from the side. She sizes her up while holding her teacup, looking more carefully. This child doesn't seem like an ordinary servant, nor like Leon's lover. The princess calculates inwardly. Perhaps she can obtain information about Leonardo through her. So she smiles and gestures for Arya to come sit here. She has some things to ask. Arya obediently sits across from the princess. She first asks Arya's name. Arya responds that her name is Arya. The princess introduces herself as the Empire's first princess, Serafina. She continues asking if Arya works at this estate. Arya nods in response. "Yes, I serve as Leon's assistant." The princess raises an eyebrow. "Oh, assistant. Then Arya must know Leonardo well." She says frankly, "Actually, I'm fond of Duke Leonardo, but he's too hard to win over." The princess asks curiously if Arya knows whether Leonardo currently has a lover. Arya responds awkwardly that she doesn't really know. Cecilia calls to Arya, saying that's not how you wring out a rag. It should be done like this. Arya realizes. "Oh, I see." Cecilia teases that Arya looks like a noble lady who's never done any work. She compliments Arya's beautiful hands, saying they don't look like working hands. Arya explains nervously, "Really? I hadn't even noticed." Cecilia then asks Arya to fetch some soap. Arya quickly agrees and runs off. She thinks anxiously that she needs to be more careful. She can't help complaining. Undercover investigation is so hard. If she's discovered, not only will she be in trouble, but she'll cause problems for Leon too. She resolves firmly only that she can't cause trouble for Leon, she absolutely cannot make mistakes. Arya passes by a window and hears people inside talking about Cecilia. She hears someone say the last client was very satisfied with Cecilia and that she's beastfolk. She sneaks a peek and hears them say beastfolk can be sold for more money. Arya's heart tightens. Is Cecilia going to be sold? This is terrible. Arya suspects Marcus's disappearance must be related to this. She's extremely anxious. She needs to tell Leon quickly that Cecilia is in danger. On the other side, the servants are fawning over Leon. They notice Leon looks even more beautiful sweating, just like an angel. They discuss all sorts of ridiculous things. Someone says they want to be Leon's handkerchief to wipe his sweat. One male servant even says he wants to put a ring on him. Such audacity. So the others beat him up together. At this moment, Arya in the distance is waving her hand, signaling Leon to come over. So Leon finds an excuse and walks over. As he approaches, Arya grabs his arm tightly. In her urgency, she actually pins Leon against the wall. She says anxiously, "Leon, something big is happening. I heard something terrible." But Leon raises an eyebrow and asks curiously, "Arya, where did you learn that move?" Arya realizes what she's doing, her face flushing to her ears as she quickly apologizes. After hearing her account, Leon nods thoughtfully and says, "I see." Arya says seriously that since she shares a room with Cecilia, she can secretly prevent it. Leon responds gently, "Then I'll have to trouble you to keep a close watch." Arya didn't expect Leon to trust her so much. She asks in disbelief, "Really?" Leon nods in confirmation, saying he'll promptly relay the situation to Cade. After saying this, he gently touches her hair, making Arya extremely shy. Leon continues gently ruffling her hair with tender affection. He then says with a smile, "You accidentally got some dust in your hair." Arya thanks him stiffly, then says goodbye, mentioning she needs to run errands. Leon smiles and encourages her to do her best. Arya nods stiffly in response. Leon watches her flustered retreat and mutters to himself, hoping he won't need to use the tracking spell he placed on her. Arya returns to the window and continues cleaning, her heart pounding wildly again. Cecilia nearby notices her unusual expression. She asks curiously what happened. Arya hurriedly says nothing. She quickly diverts her attention to work, reminding herself to stay calm. Right now, she needs to focus on protecting Cecilia and can't get distracted. Arya racks her brain thinking about how to safely protect Cecilia. She makes up her mind and enthusiastically invites Cecilia to have afternoon tea together later. Cecilia is somewhat surprised and asks, "Afternoon tea?" Arya explains that she wants to get to know Cecilia better and grow closer. Cecilia is even more confused. Why specifically get to know her? Arya says seriously, "Because I want to develop a more intimate relationship with you, Cecilia." At these words, Cecilia is both shocked and delighted. Her cheeks begin to burn involuntarily, and she stammers, not knowing how to respond. Seeing this, Arya mutters to herself, "Did the book get the friend-making method wrong?" Cecilia says somewhat shyly that they haven't known each other long and she's not mentally prepared yet. Arya is confused. Does making friends require mental preparation in advance? Cecilia then realizes it's not what she thought, so she agrees with a smile that after work, she'll prepare refreshments to bring back to their room to share. Arya immediately agrees with a smile, looking forward to the afternoon tea. That evening, Arya is carefully preparing an elegant afternoon tea in their room. Cecilia walks in carrying a plate of cookies, saying the kitchen happened to have some left over. The two sit together for tea, and Cecilia sighs that Arya is truly a remarkable person. Arya blinks her round eyes and asks in confusion, "Why do you say that?" Cecilia explains that most people don't deliberately make friends at work. Arya laughs awkwardly, not realizing there was such an unwritten rule. Cecilia hugs her warm teacup and sighs. Moreover, being a foreign beast folk, she's inevitably shunned. Arya quickly rises from her seat and urgently calls to Cecilia. She says excitedly, "I'm also beast folk." Cecilia is surprised, saying she couldn't tell Arya was beast folk at all. Arya lowers her eyes and hesitates for a moment, saying quietly she's considered half-blood beast folk. Cecilia's pupils dilate in shock again. Half-blood beast folk features are usually very obvious. Arya explains softly that she's a child born from a human mother and beast folk father. Cecilia nods thoughtfully, but Arya doesn't look like half-blood beast folk. She patiently explains that pure-blooded beast folk can freely transform between human and beast forms, with their human form indistinguishable from humans. But half-bloods can't fully transform. Their human form retains animal characteristics, so half-bloods are easily distinguished in a crowd. Arya quickly says she also has distinctive features. She just hides them well. After saying this, she lowers her head slightly and carefully reveals the small horns hidden in her hair. Cecilia leans in curiously to look at Arya's small horns. Her mouth opens in surprise, speechless. Arya thinks hopefully, will Cecilia know what her ancestral animal is? But Cecilia asks with a curious expression, "What animal's horns are these?" Arya shakes her head with slight disappointment, saying she doesn't really know either. Cecilia then asks cautiously if she can touch them gently. Arya readily nods in agreement. Cecilia slowly extends her hand. Her fingertips gently caress the small horns on Arya's head. Arya can't help letting out a soft sound, her cheeks flushing. The sound startles even herself. She didn't expect to make such a strange noise. Face completely red, she thinks no one has ever touched her horns before. She didn't know they were so sensitive. Cecilia says with a smile, "It seems this is quite quite a sensitive area. Arya feels embarrassed because this is the first time anyone has touched her horns. Cecilia understands. Everyone has sensitive areas. She's sensitive about her tail, too. Arya's eyes light up as she eagerly asks what kind of beastfolk Cecilia is. Cecilia responds that she's squirrel beastfolk. Arya's eyes sparkle as she shouts excitedly, "Oh my goodness, squirrel! I absolutely love squirrels." She says hopefully that she'd love to see Cecilia's beast form someday. Arya feels delighted. It's rare for her to make a female friend. This is the first time besides Leon that she's talked to someone for so long about personal things. On the other side, in the quiet East Wing, Cade looks at the excessively quiet environment, feeling it somewhat abnormal and eerie. He cautiously suggests they should sneak in first and observe the situation. But Leon responds calmly, "No, I think we arrived right on time." Cade looks confused. At this moment, Leon turns his head and gestures toward the distance. "Look, someone's already coming to greet us." Cade turns to look and indeed sees two people in black walking toward them. The newcomer sneers sinisterly. "We really caught big fish. Besides that foolish girl, there are two more." Cade steps forward and demands, "Who are you?" The person responds contemptuously, "Spy's about to die, don't need to know who I am." On the other side, Arya finally wakes up and finds her surroundings unfamiliar and cold. Suddenly, a rough, unfamiliar voice sounds. "You're finally awake." The person greets her with a sinister smile. "Hello there, little beauty. Did you sleep well?" Arya freezes in shock, discovering cold chains around her neck. She demands warily, "Who are you?" The person sneers back. "I was going to ask you the same thing." He roughly grabs Arya's face and demands viciously, "Who are you? Why did you dare snoop around our territory?" Arya is frightened by his fierce demeanor, thinking how terrifying this is. Her feet are also locked in heavy chains. She thinks frantically, where is this place? Arya suddenly thinks of Cecilia, worrying if she was also harmed and captured, so she urgently asks where Cecilia is. The person's expression changes slightly upon hearing Cecilia's name. He then shouts toward a dark corner, "Hey, she's looking for you," signaling Cecilia to come out. Cecilia slowly emerges from the shadows. Arya is instantly shocked upon seeing her, her entire body freezing. She asks in a trembling voice, unable to believe it, "Cecilia, are you one of them too?" Cecilia remains silent, her expression so cold it's impossible to read. The villain mocks triumphantly, "Don't you get it? The one who brought you here is this traitor, Cecilia." Arya is too shocked to speak, her heart feeling like it's being viciously squeezed. She never imagined the friend she trusted would betray her. The person checks his pocket watch and says time's up. They can't delay any longer. After saying this, he roughly grabs Arya and says harshly they need to go. They then arrive at an auction hall where nobles specifically auction illegal goods. The auction hall is crowded with nobles looking expectant, waiting for the auction. The auctioneer delivers an enthusiastic speech, thanking the distinguished guests attending the underground auction. The auctioneer announces, "Now please allow me to introduce today's first item." Inside the dark, damp auction hall warehouse, Arya is firmly shackled with heavy iron chains. The villain informs Arya that she's today's grand finale item. Thinking about being auctioned off, Arya feels utterly desperate. She's filled with regret. She insisted on coming along, and now it's come to this. Arya thinks helplessly about what to do next. Leon must be worried about her. Suddenly she hears a faint sound nearby, like something heavy falling. The villain from just now has collapsed beside her, motionless. Arya thinks fearfully, what's going on? Just as she's about to look, she hears a familiar, gentle voice softly calling her. It's Leon! She turns around in delighted surprise, about to speak. When Leon quickly covers her mouth, his movements gentle but urgent. He gestures for her not to make a sound. The moment she sees Leon, Arya's grievances surge up. Unable to hold back anymore, she throws herself into Leon's arms, crying loudly. Leon is somewhat at a loss seeing this. Arya's body trembles as she chokes out, "Leon, I was so scared." Leon quickly strokes her back gently and responds tenderly, "It's okay now. I'm here." Leon's embrace is exceptionally warm and reassuring. Arya's body gradually stops trembling. She calms down and thinks shyly about how to pull away. At this moment, Leon asks gently, "Arya, are you feeling better now?" Arya's cheeks flush as she quickly moves away from his embrace. She says with a smile, "I'm better now. Thank you for comforting me, Leon." She asks curiously, "How did you find this place?" And so quickly, Leon is about to answer when a voice interrupts them. A black cat suddenly speaks up. "Excuse me, are you two done? Let's get moving." Arya is utterly shocked. Where did this cat come from? And it can talk. Leon responds helplessly, "I know, Cade." Arya gasps, "That's Cade?" She suddenly realizes, this is a beastfolk's animal form. Cade is cat beastfolk. Leon explains that thanks to Cade's help, they were able to easily break in here. Cade urgently reminds them that magical explosives are planted everywhere. They need to leave quickly. Arya is shocked. "There are explosives hidden here." Cade nods. "These explosives detonate on signal. It looks like we can't catch them all in one net." Hearing this, Arya's eyes suddenly light up. She thinks of a brilliant escape plan. She says to them excitedly, "I have an idea!" The two people and one cat huddle together and conspire in hushed voices. They act immediately. Arya gets up and runs off. She rushes straight onto the bustling auction stage. She shouts to the crowd below, "Something terrible is happening!" The guests immediately start stirring, discussing what's happening. Arya continues shouting urgently, "The warehouse is about to explode! Everyone run!" Her cry triggers another wave of commotion, but clearly no one will believe a little girl's word alone. The guests discuss amongst themselves, curious about who this girl who suddenly burst out is. The auctioneer's eyes widen in fury as he grabs her hand, demanding, "How did you escape? And how do you know about the explosives?" Arya feigns composure and responds defiantly, "None of your business how I know." The next second, a loud explosion sounds behind them. Both turn to look in fright, their faces instantly pale. Arya mutters to herself, "Even though it's a fake explosion, it's incredibly realistic." The guests are terrified out of their wits, screaming that it's collapsing and flee toward the exit in panic. Arya rejoices inwardly. The plan succeeded. Using the fake explosion to herd people toward the exit, Leon walks out from the warehouse and asks with concern if Arya is all right. The auctioneer glares at Leon, demanding, "Who are you? Did you do this?" Leon completely ignores his shouting and walks straight toward Arya. The auctioneer shouts in exasperation, "What are you doing? Answer me!" Without a word, Leon gently pulls Arya into his arms protectively. He says coldly to the auctioneer, "How can you treat her so roughly?" The auctioneer becomes even angrier at being rebuked, but Leon continues to ignore him. Leon looks down and earnestly asks if Arya is hurt. Arya shakes her head with a flushed face, indicating she's fine. Leon sighs in relief, saying that's wonderful, seeing both of them so completely ignoring his existence. The auctioneer shouts furiously for the guards to come and arrest them both immediately. A large group of black-clad guards instantly surrounds them, menacingly blocking their way. The auctioneer snarls viciously, "Don't think you're leaving here alive today!" Arya is confused. Leon's matter? What did he ask her to do? Damien explains it's after Arya rescues the Duke from the royal family's grasp. Arya is shocked. Rescue? What is Damien talking about? She doesn't understand at all. Damien thinks, what? Arya doesn't know about this. Damien sighs, saying she's truly pitiful. So Arya has been kept in the dark all this time. Arya urgently presses, "What? Tell her clearly." Damien lets out a cold laugh. "So that Leonardo guy just treats you as a tool?" Arya completely freaks out. What is this person talking about? What contract tool? Damien slowly explains that in the Duke's heart is carved a royal contract called Eternal Binding, and the Duke is trying to unilaterally break this contract. He emphasizes that Arya is the only person in the entire empire who can do this, because only sacred healing power can break this curse, and all healers belong to the temple. The temple won't help Leonardo unless they want to antagonize the royal family. He concludes that this is precisely why the Duke wants to use Arya, who doesn't belong to the temple. Damien mocks Arya. Leon didn't even tell her this, and has been playing her for a fool. After hearing this, Arya is delighted. "What? So she's this important to Leon?" Damien laughs and leans closer. "It seems you're not simple either. More troublesome than I thought." Arya is frightened and asks in confusion what he means. She's completely lost, but Damien doesn't answer, instead saying he's even more interested in Arya now, though he has advice for her. He reminds Arya to choose which side to stand on in advance. She must think carefully before acting. After Damien leaves, Arya huddles in a corner, her legs weak and unable to move. It's too terrifying. She murmurs Leon's name, not understanding why he never mentioned the curse. Arya is full of regret. If she'd known earlier, she definitely would have studied magic harder. She thinks she clearly wanted to become someone helpful to Leon. At this moment, Cade in cat form finds her, meowing that he found her. He asks Arya in confusion why she's crouching alone in this kind of place. Arya shouts with teary eyes in delight, "Cade!" Cade asks in panic what's wrong. Did the princess make things difficult for her? Arya remains silent. She just reaches out and picks up Cade in cat form. She then lifts the kitten high, her eyes full of joy. Cade blushes and shouts, "You! What are you doing?" Arya says with a smile that Cade always appears when she doesn't want to be alone. Cade insists it's just coincidence, though his ears feel slightly hot. Arya looks at Cat Cade and just thinks he's so cute. Staying like this wouldn't be bad. She then asks curiously, "Cade, how did you end up here?" Cade responds speechlessly if she doesn't think she's asking too late. Arya and Cade return to Arya's room. Leon explains that without royal permission, Leon can't freely come and go, so he came to help. Arya mutters quietly that Leon is really overprotective. She understands completely. After hearing about the contract, she can understand Leon's actions. Arya feels sweet inside, thinking there's something only she can do. Cade looks at her strange expression, his face full of confusion. Arya giggles foolishly, thinking she can help Leon makes her uncontrollably happy. Cade can't help grumbling. "What? Why are you suddenly smiling like that?" Arya asks Cade if he knows about Leon and the royal family's contract. Cade's face shows shock, his eyes somewhat flustered as he asks where Arya heard about it. He's certain Arya didn't hear it from Leon. Arya nods. Someone else told her. She asks if he knows why Leon signed that kind of contract. Cade shakes his head saying he doesn't know. Whenever this comes up, Leon's expression becomes terrifying. Arya nods in understanding. "I see." Cade asks Arya tentatively if she minds that Leon never mentioned it. Arya responds honestly that of course it doesn't feel good and she's sad. She changes tone with a smile, saying being able to help Leon makes her even happier. Cade sighs in relief, saying they were really worrying over nothing. The next day, back in her room, Arya flops onto the bed complaining about still having to train at the palace. Cade reminds her from the side that she's the one who wants to work hard to break the curse. He rarely praises Arya, saying she's already doing very well with great progress. Arya is surprised Cade would praise her for the first time ever. She then casually reaches out to pat his cat head, thanking him with a smile. Cade's cheeks flush slightly. He's still still not used to Arya treating him this way. At this moment, Arya suggests, "Let's sleep together. Sleeping on the sofa might give you a cold." Cade's face instantly reddens. He bristles and shouts, "Don't talk nonsense just because I'm a cat. I'm male." Arya apologizes embarrassedly. "Sorry." Cade sits on the sofa awkwardly, his cheeks red and heart pounding wildly. In the princess's palace, Lady-in-Waiting Lillian has finished investigating and returned to report. Seraphina asks Lady-in-Waiting Lillian how the investigation into the Duke is progressing. Lady-in-Waiting Lillian hands over a document, telling Seraphina to look at this first. Seraphina is surprised upon seeing the document. "Isn't this the record of the Viscount Grayson incident from 6 years ago?" Lillian explains this happened 6 years ago, right when the Duke took in the child. Seraphina is puzzled. What's the connection? Wasn't this family wiped out by him? Lillian adds that soldiers checking the bodies said a child's body was missing. Apparently the Viscount had an adopted daughter. No body found, no whereabouts. Seraphina realizes, could that child be Arya? She lets out a cold laugh. It's time to summon Leonardo to the palace. Early the next morning, knocking sounds at Arya's room. She pokes her head out from under the covers, wondering who it is. The next second, her door opens and a large group of ladies in waiting flood in. They take Arya to wash up immediately, explaining Princess Seraphina invites her to breakfast. Please prepare quickly. After washing up, Arya grumbles inwardly. Preparing this early? After getting ready, Arya lies on the bed sighing about having a private audience so early. Cade responds while eating breakfast nearby. You've got it tough. Arya wonders why Seraphina insists on learning about Leon through her. Cade analyzes that Leon probably refuses to get engaged, so Seraphina wants to use her to find weaknesses. Arya is curious why she'd choose Leon. What's special about him? Then she feels secretly relieved, but Leon won't get engaged. That's great. Cade reminds Arya not to let her guard down. Seraphina wants to use her to keep Leon. After going out, Arya comes to the royal courtyard to stroll slowly, enjoying the rare freedom. She lets her imagination wander as if she's become a princess, feeling very cheerful. But she hasn't walked far when she encounters the real princess, Seraphina. Upon seeing her, Seraphina tells the ladies in waiting behind her to withdraw. She asks Arya how she got from the side palace courtyard to the central courtyard. Arya says embarrassedly she's not sure herself. She just ended up here while walking. Seraphina explains there's a guest visiting today, so she deliberately delayed the tea party. Arya is puzzled. Guest? Seraphina says with a smile she invited Duke Leonardo. He'll arrive soon. Hearing this, Arya musters courage. Your Highness, may I ask you a question? Seraphina responds readily. What question? Arya asks seriously. Why did you choose Leon? Seraphina responds frankly that she wants to find someone to rely on in the treacherous palace. It turns out Duke Leonardo is the most suitable choice. Seraphina changes the subject, saying she has a question for Arya too. She asks if Arya's feelings for Leonardo are admiration or love. Arya's cheeks instantly flush as she says she does admire Leon. She adds haltingly that although she loves him, their current relationship is also important. She says honestly she's never fantasized about developing any relationship with Leon. As long as she can maintain the status quo, she's already very satisfied. Seraphina draws out her words. Oh, I see. Her eyes carry playfulness. She adds, but Arya, your expression right now isn't convincing at all. At this moment, Lillian runs over in panic. Your Highness, something terrible happened. She then whispers something in Seraphina's ear. Seraphina's expression changes dramatically. How did he return so early? She's about to continue when an unfamiliar voice interrupts. The two turn to look. They see the Crown Prince walking toward them with Leon following behind. The Crown Prince asks with a smile how Seraphina has been lately. Seraphina grits her teeth after hearing, while Arya beside her wonders, who is this person? After seeing Leon, she's delighted. Ah, it's Leon. She wants to go greet him. However, Seraphina signals her to stay quiet, then bows to the Crown Prince, asking why he returned so early. Arya is shocked upon hearing, he's the Crown Prince? The Crown Prince explains he had some trouble, so returned early. He then grabs Seraphina's shoulder sarcastically. You really can't be underestimated. Getting engaged behind your brother's back. Seraphina's expression becomes extremely ugly. The Crown Prince then whispers in her ear that no matter how hard his sister tries, it's all futile. Seraphina is both frightened and angry after hearing, her body trembling uncontrollably. Even Arya notices the atmosphere is wrong. She wants to turn and ask Lillian beside her about the situation, but finds Lillian's state is also wrong. She looks very angry, trembling all over. This oppressive atmosphere makes Arya uncomfortable, so she instinctively steps back, and her footing suddenly gives way. Arya lets out a startled cry. Lillian beside her is first to turn back. Everyone else turns to look. They see Arya has fallen into the courtyard river. Leon shouts Arya's name anxiously and immediately rushes toward the riverbank. Only now does the Crown Prince notice Arya. He's about to apologize for not noticing this young lady. Looking up, he discovers everyone is ignoring him. Both Seraphina and Leon are pulling Arya up together. No one cares about him as Crown Prince. His expression instantly darkens. Leon quickly asks Arya if she's hurt, his eyes full of worry. Lady-in-Waiting Lillian also steps forward asking with concern if Miss Arya is all right. Arya nods in response. Yes, thank you for your concern. Lillian continues with concern that Miss Arya must be feeling unwell again. She's always been frail. Upon hearing this, Leon carries Arya away. As they pass the Crown Prince, his dark aura is palpable. The next second, a crisp slapping sound rings out. This terrifies Arya. The Crown Prince actually hit someone. Leon notices Arya in his arms trembling uncontrollably, so he gently pats her back while softly comforting her. It's okay, I'm here. Arya nestles in Leon's arms, humming in acknowledgement, her emotions gradually calming. In Arya's room, she's freshened up and changed into clean, warm clothes. Cade can't help grumbling that they suddenly appeared soaking wet and scared him. Leon explains with a laugh that a small accident happened. Cade looks at Leon and asks if he entered the palace earlier than scheduled. Leon nods. Yes, because I received an urgent summons from the palace. Cade looks at the listless Arya and asks what's wrong with her. At this moment, that slapping sound still echoes in Arya's mind, unable to calm down. Leon notices her mood and praises her. This simple hairstyle really suits you. Arya thinks, Leon is always so gentle. It makes her heart flutter. She just fell for this gentle Leon, nothing more. Arya reflects inwardly that she's now starting to long for more. Arya musters courage and reaches out to grab Leon's hand. She takes Leon's hand and gently places it on her cheek. Both Leon and Cade beside them are stunned, disbelief written all over their faces. Arya looks at Leon with grievance, hoping inwardly he'll look at her differently. Leon stutters her name at this moment, completely unsure how to respond. Arya's brain suddenly short-circuits. She hasn't processed what she just did. She finally realizes, her cheeks instantly turning crimson like a ripe apple. Arya frantically lets go of Leon's hand, wishing she could find a hole to crawl into. At this moment, Serafina suddenly bursts through the door. I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. She loudly announces that they all must attend Serafina's surprise party. Serafina stares at Leon and asks why his face is so red. How annoying. Leon asks in confusion if Her Highness is drunk, his tone concerned. Serafina responds irritably that she's very sober. She only drank a little. Soon the group begins drinking together. Leon turns to Arya, asking with concern if she's all right. After drinking, Arya exclaims inwardly, her face is starting to burn. Is this the alcohol kicking in? Arya responds with a flushed face. Yes, I'm fine. She then musters courage to speak. Your Highness, where you were hit just now, does it still hurt? Serafina freezes for a moment. She then realizes and responds that she wasn't the one who was hit. Arya recalls the scene. Was it Lillian who was hit? Serafina recalls the Crown Prince's vicious appearance. She then comforts Arya that it's not her fault. Don't take it to heart. Arya says full of guilt, but if your Highness hadn't protected me then. Serafina immediately responds that it was her mistake. Just a reflex. She explains that guy takes pleasure in destroying her possessions. She can't tolerate it. Leon asks curiously upon hearing this, Your Highness, when you said you wanted to get engaged, was it because of the Crown Prince? Serafina responds honestly. That's right. Why? Decided to get engaged to me after hearing the reason? Arya quickly refuses for him. Leon can't. Only now does Leon notice Arya has drunk an entire bottle of red wine. He sees her continue saying that in that case, why doesn't Her Highness just become emperor? Serafina is somewhat shocked Arya would say such a thing. She then sighs and asks if Arya thinks she'd be any different from him. After hearing this, Arya blinks and thinks. Arya recalls how Serafina's ladies-in-waiting were all devoted to her with respect and affection. She then answers with a smile that although she doesn't know Her Highness well, she can tell she's a very good person. Serafina laughs upon hearing this. She then teases mischievously in response that succession rights already belong to the Crown Prince, so now the only option is. Seeing this, Arya immediately hugs Leon and says he can't. She explains with a flushed face that Leon really hates the royal family. They can't force him. Then she says to Leon with a smile not to worry. She'll definitely help him resolve it. Early the next morning, Leon and the others are taking a carriage home. Serafina comes to see them off. Sorry to send you away so hastily. Leon responds politely that she needn't apologize. It was their honor to visit. Serafina teases that his polite words are impeccable. Then she looks at the blushing Arya. You too. You can't hide your emotions. But thank you for being my companion these days. Arya apologizes hastily, hoping she didn't do anything disrespectful to Her Highness. Serafina raises an eyebrow. Disrespectful? You mean yesterday? You did quite a lot. Arya gasps in shock. What? She doesn't remember what. She did it all. Serafina lists them. You objected to my suggestions and even talked back with treasonous words. Arya shouts in distress. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to. Serafina laughs. Forget it. What happened at the drinking party, I'll pretend never happened. Arya breathes a sigh of relief. Thank you for your generosity. On the carriage. Arya recalls how she clung to Leon acting spoiled last night. She covers her face, freaking out, not knowing how to face him. Arya mutters to herself that Leon isn't speaking or talking to her. She thinks that although she said it while drunk, she still mustered courage. At this moment, Cade pats her face, telling her not to overthink and just ask directly. He adds that Leon isn't good at showing emotions. She shouldn't wait for him to initiate. So Arya resolves that overthinking is useless. Better to ask him directly, just as she's about to speak. Leon calls her first. Arya freezes in panic, not expecting him to speak first. Leon says seriously that after returning to the estate, he has something to tell her. She should come to his room. At Thornbrook Duke's estate, Arya comes to Leon's room. She's extremely nervous. When actually facing him, she's especially anxious. Leon notices Cade across from them. He asks why he's sitting there. Cade explains with a flushed face that he's also a listener. It's better to sit here. Leon nods, then asks Arya how much she knows about his situation. Arya says hesitantly that she knows some things, but she hopes to hear it directly from Leon himself. Arya continues, but no matter what, I'll stand by Leon's side and do anything for you. Leon hesitates, saying he perhaps only brought her back to use her. Arya responds firmly, so what? I actually feel fortunate. Without this ability, I might never have met you, she says with a smile. She's happy to have this ability and happy to help him. Leon reaches out and firmly grasps Arya's hand. He kneels before her and buries his head in her hands. I'm sorry, Arya. Arya hurriedly comforts him, saying it's okay. She tells Leon not to blame himself. Arya reaches out and gently touches his head, saying firmly, I said I'd help you. Leon then looks up with determination and asks her to help him break the curse. That evening, Cade questions Leon about why he didn't say Arya was from the Grayson family. Leon explains that Cade didn't like Arya then. It wasn't appropriate to bring up. Cade counters that he had chances afterward, and he also didn't mention her ability. Leon looks somewhat embarrassed, saying he was negligent and couldn't find the right timing to tell. Cade sighs, saying he understands but still feels unhappy about it. He speculates that Arya was likely abused in that family. Leon asks with a smile what would make him stop being upset. Cade thinks for a moment and compromises with a question. Doesn't he plan to accept Arya's feelings? Leon says he's not qualified to accept her feelings. After she's seen the wider world, her thoughts might change. Cade grumbles that he sounds like someone speaking from bitter experience. Several days later on a rainy day, Arya is shocked that Cade is returning to the Varna kingdom soon, so they must perform the curse-breaking ritual today. Cade nods, saying he never planned to stay long. The agreement is almost complete. Arya asks curiously what agreement. She doesn't know about it. Leon turns to Arya and asks if she's not interested in the Varna kingdom and beast folk. Arya nods, saying she's always wanted to visit personally. She adds that, in a sense, it's also her homeland, then asks in confusion why he brought this up. Leon suggests that after the ritual, she go to the Varna kingdom with Cade. Arya asks in surprise why so suddenly. Won't Leon go with them? Leon is silent for a moment. Arya says firmly she won't go. If he doesn't go, she won't either. Leon quickly reassures her that of course he'll go. He won't leave her behind. Arya is instantly happy, her eyes sparkling with joy. Leon explains it's not now. He begs her forgiveness for being unable to go together. He worries that, after the curse is broken, the royal family won't let it go. The capital will definitely be affected. It's too dangerous there. He says gently he doesn't want Arya in such a dangerous place. He then begs her understanding of his arrangement, promising he won't do anything to make Arya sad or upset. Leon guarantees that once things are resolved here, he'll immediately rush to find her. Arya is overjoyed inside, feeling Leon's words make her too happy. The three then come to the basement Leon prepared. Leon says this is it. Leon calls to Arya, saying he's truly grateful for her help. Arya immediately says firmly that for Leon's sake she'll definitely complete the ritual successfully. Leon comes to the center of the magic circle. Cade tells her to just do it like usual training. Arya responds confidently that she definitely won't disappoint him. Arya begins casting. The magic circle glows, illuminating the entire basement. The curse in Leon's heart is drawn out. The sword's form is very menacing. Arya thinks she just needs to pull out that sword symbolizing the curse. But when she exerts force, she suffers strong backlash. Leon also suffers backlash and coughs up blood. Arya panics. It actually failed. She doesn't understand how this happened. Suddenly, a strange sound comes. Leon's expression changes. They need to leave immediately. He says urgently that soldiers will attack soon. They can't delay. Soon, soldiers surround the Duke's estate. So Leon takes Arya and Cade to escape into a cabin in the woods. Leon explains this is the house he lived in as a child. Cade is shocked it's still so tidy after hundreds of years. Leon explains he cast time-distorting magic before being taken to the palace. He adds this place can temporarily evade the soldiers' tracking. Arya apologizes guiltily, saying it's all her fault for not succeeding and dragging him into this. Leon reassures her it's not her fault. Perhaps there's a problem with the magic circle. He continues lightly that he has an immortal body. This small injury is nothing. After saying this, Cade gives Leon 2 punches. Leon touches his head and looks up, puzzled at the furious Cade. Cade scolds him not to take himself for granted just because he's immortal. Arya agrees, telling Leon never to say such things again. She doesn't want Leon to be harmed at all. Leon is shocked. This is the first time anyone has cared about him like this. Ever since people knew he was a mage, everyone held the greatest malice toward him. Some even proposed using him as a shield since he's immortal. They said even if his limbs were severed, there were healers to treat him. Everyone ordered him to cause havoc with his magic. This was his mission. Arya calls to him softly, even if you won't die, being hurt still causes pain. Cade also agrees, telling him to cherish himself as they cherish him. Leon suddenly bursts into laughter, his laugh especially carefree and relieved. Both Arya and Cade are surprised, wondering what he's laughing about. Leon says with a smile he suddenly feels very warm inside. Cade gets to the point, asking what his plan is. Pursuers will arrive soon. Leon touches his heart and answers. The contract has a tracking function that can locate him anytime. Suddenly there's knocking. Everyone panics, afraid they've been discovered. The door opens, and Lady Lillian, Seraphina's lady-in-waiting, enters. Cade is wary, asking how she found this place and telling her not to come closer. Lillian reassures them to calm down. She's here to help. She explains that if she wanted to expose them, she would have reported to the palace already. Cade is shocked, asking if she's been following them all along. Lillian openly admits otherwise she couldn't have found this place. She then remarks their friendship is touching. Cade tells her embarrassedly to be quiet. Lillian becomes serious, saying she came specifically on Serafina's orders to help. So everyone follows Lillian into an underground passage. She explains the castle is under lockdown. Lillian explains Her Highness can't get away, so she sent her to help. Leon asks why the princess is helping them. Lillian responds that Her Highness wants her own power base and needs reliable allies. Lillian relays Serafina's words. He owes her a huge favor. Don't forget to repay it. Arya's heart races upon hearing this. With a premonition she might never see Leon again. Leon notices her abnormality. He grips her hand, telling her not to overthink. At this moment, Lillian ahead stops, saying they've arrived. Someone calls to her from ahead. The person's short white hair is strikingly beautiful. Lillian introduces him as Holy Son Demeter of the temple. She adds that Demeter is providing a place to help them escape tracking. Arya is surprised. She didn't expect their helper to be a temple priest. The person smiles, telling them to call him Demeter. He says the army can hardly enter the temple. They can hide here for a while. Demeter looks at Leon, saying he seems familiar, like he's seen him somewhere. Arya grumbles inwardly that this sounds like a pickup line from books. She sees Demeter lean closer to Leon. She immediately exclaims inwardly, "Don't get too close." So she quickly diverts their attention, shouting that it's amazing Demeter recognized Leon's identity at a glance. Demeter laughs lightly that his title as Holy Son isn't just for show, Miss Arya. Arya is shocked that Demeter even knows her name, and that he's male. Demeter also looks at Cade, calling him Cat Sir over there. Before long, Leon begins drawing the magic circle again. Arya and the others wait to the side. Arya stares at Demeter and musters courage to call, "Lord Demeter." She asks if Demeter can see through Cade's identity. Can he tell what beast folk she is? Demeter thinks for a moment. He suddenly says in shock, "You're actually beast folk?" He says in disbelief that he only senses human soul fluctuations from her. Arya says urgently she really is beast folk. She's not lying. Demeter turns to Lillian, asking if she already knew this. Lillian nods, saying a palace maid once told her Arya has horns. Arya is annoyed. She clearly promised not to mention it to anyone. Demeter leans close to Arya, saying there's something special in her right eye. Arya panics, telling him not to touch her and asking what he's doing. Demeter explains there's a special light flickering in her eye. On the other side, Leon stands looking at the completed magic circle, saying he's finally finished. He's confident, saying he's checked multiple times. There won't be mistakes this time. Leon calls to Arya, telling her to come to his side. He guarantees this time won't have accidents like last time. Arya nods, saying she believes him, then jumps down. Leon once again earnestly asks her to help break the curse on him. Arya swallows and begins preparing, saying nothing will go wrong, it will succeed. She then begins casting. The magic circle glows brightly. Leon closes his eyes, concentrating to withstand the magic. The next second, he still suffers backlash and coughs up blood. Arya panics again. The ritual had no errors. She doesn't understand why this happened. Leon loses control and roars, demanding what went wrong. Arya is guilt-ridden, apologizing to Leon repeatedly. Leon calms down and apologizes to Arya, saying he got carried away just now. He's about to say something when Arya suddenly exerts force, saying she'll restore everything. Saying this, she uses all her strength to cast. When Arya comes to her senses again, she doesn't know where she is. Tiny Demeter beside her roars that it's all her fault for misusing magic, causing him to become like this. Demeter explains her magic power conflicted with his sacred power, creating a temporal rift. They both travel to the past. She looks around. The air is filled with a pungent yet familiar smell of blood. Not far away, an unfamiliar young Leon stands there, his clothes stained red with blood. Arya sees the young figure and gasps, "Leon?" Her voice full of disbelief. Young Leon turns at the sound. Demeter immediately pushes Arya down to crouch. Arya struggles. "What are you doing?" He can't help calling her an idiot. In the past, any action could change the future. Demeter says seriously that interfering with the past will trigger changes. The price is borne entirely by the one who changes it. She urgently suggests, "So let's go back quickly." Arya says regretfully, "Ah, so soon?" Demeter scolds, "Do you think we're here on vacation? Stay any longer and you'll definitely cause trouble." Sure enough, before he finishes speaking, Arya rushes toward Leon. Demeter is about to stop her when he hears a loud noise suddenly coming from ahead. Young Leon is at the very front facing the enemy. Arya is shocked. What happened? Looking closely, there are corpses everywhere. She wonders why young Leon would be in such a place. Demeter recalls he once heard of a genius mage who could single-handedly destroy entire armies. Arya's heart jolts. Could Leon be that mage? After saying this, she sees young Leon unleash powerful magic, instantly defeating the enemy army. Arya is heartbroken. They made such a young child go to battle? She's furious, and he's all alone. Sending him to kill is too cruel. Suddenly, she sees a soldier circling behind him, preparing to ambush. The soldier roars, "Die, you monster!" Young Leon just turns around. Arya rushes forward recklessly to shield him. Young Leon is surprised. He didn't expect anyone to suddenly protect him. Demeter is stunned too. This girl actually dares to interfere with the past. Arya falls while holding young Leon. She holds him and apologizes with guilt in her voice. "I'm sorry, I knew nothing about all this." Arya's heart aches. "You've had such a hard time alone, haven't you? I'll definitely save you." Young Leon is confused in her arms. Who is this person? Why is she saying this? Demeter clicks his tongue from the side, speechless. She really did cause trouble. That evening, Demeter roars at Arya. "Didn't I warn you? Don't interfere with the past." Arya lowers her head in acknowledgement. Demeter urges that before the past changes too much, they should leave immediately. Arya hesitates. "What? But what about Leon? I can't just leave him." Demeter counters that even without her, Duke Leonardo lived fine. "Hurry back," Arya mutters. I know! She then activates magic. Dazzling light illuminates the surroundings. Arya asks curiously, Lord Demeter, what are you thinking? You're not moving. Demeter comes back to himself. Ah, coming. He quickly follows Arya's magic rhythm. Together, they exert force. An even stronger light envelops the surroundings. Before long, Leon entered softly asking if she was awake. He brought some food, but he found the room completely empty. Disappointment and loneliness washed over him again. On the other side, Arya and Demeter travel through time again, but they arrive in a forest. Demeter sighs. It seems they're still in the past, just reversed some time. Arya is completely weak. She has no strength left. Her magic power is too depleted. Demeter explains that releasing two powerful magic forces, mana depletion is normal. Arya wonders, is that so? Then why did you have me cast consecutively? Demeter is embarrassed. I forgot in my rush. Sorry. Arya grumbles it's too much, making her suffer from carelessness. Demeter suddenly realizes, but this way I understand why the ritual failed. He's about to say something, when they hear strange sounds from a distance. Arya is alert. Over there. Could it be? Before Demeter reacts, Arya has already run toward the sound. She pushes open the door, crying out, Leon, what happened? The scene before her immediately frightens her. The air is filled with a thick smell of blood. Arya immediately covers her nose. She looks at the bloodstains on the ground. Blood? What happened? She forces herself. It's okay. I need to pull myself together. Looking at the injured young Leon, she decides to heal his wounds first, but Demeter immediately stops her. You can't. Did you forget what I said? He reiterates they can't interfere with the past. The consequences are unthinkable. Arya protests urgently. But Leon is badly injured right now. Demeter responds coldly to just pretend she didn't see it. This already happened. Arya can't believe it. Pretend I didn't see? How is that possible? She recalls how Leon protected her when she was young. Her eyes well up. Arya resolves, how can I stand by and do nothing for Leon? Ignoring Demeter's objection, she holds young Leon and begins casting healing magic. From a suicide note that fell nearby, she learned the full story of Leon's contract with the royal family. It turned out Leon's teacher used his mother as a hostage and sold him to the royal family. As payment, the royal family had the crown prince engaged to Leon's teacher's daughter. Leon's mother thought if she died, her son could escape the contract's binding. Arya looks at her trembling hands. She still hasn't recovered from yesterday's shock. Demeter comes over and grumbles helplessly that she's really meddlesome. He looks Arya over, quite strong, digging graves and burying bodies alone. Arya laughs embarrassedly. Hee, I don't have many strengths, just physical strength. She asks worriedly, how is Leon now? Demeter responds that he's sleeping soundly. His wounds healed, but the mental trauma is hard to erase. Arya sighs in relief. That's good. At least it wasn't for nothing. Demeter warns, you're really an idiot. I can't help you with the price of meddling in the past. He then begins casting. A faint glow emanates from his palm. Arya's body finally stops trembling. Demeter explains, 5 days at most. Leave by then. Arya is excited upon hearing this. She grasps him with both hands and thanks. Lord Demeter, thank you. Demeter struggles hastily. Let go of me first. Arya asks curiously why Lord Demeter became like this. Demeter says helplessly that unlike her, only part of his soul traveled through. At this moment, a rough shout comes from the distance. Brat! Get out here! Two people approach arrogantly. The one-eyed man in front notices Arya. What's this? Why is there a strange girl? Arya says nervously. Please go back. The one-eyed man sneers. Daring to order me around? Do you know who I am? Arya mutters inwardly that this person is scary, but she can't back down for Leon's sake. So she musters courage. Leon is very ill right now. Please go back. The one-eyed man scoffs. When have we ever cared about that brat's condition? Arya is furious. Too much. How can you treat him like this? The one-eyed man is stunned. What? This girl dares to talk back to me? Arya continues roaring. When Leon was killing enemies on the battlefield, what were you adults doing? The one-eyed man flies into a rage, telling her to shut up and bring the person out. Saying this, he reaches out. I'm being polite and you're pushing your luck. But Arya's expression suddenly changes, her gaze cold. The one-eyed man's hand freezes. He thinks, what's happening? The air around suddenly feels scorching. Then he feels pain. The one-eyed man mutters to himself that if she's really a mage, it's trouble, hard to deal with. At this moment, the person beside him advises, Hale, let's go back. The one-eyed man leaves reluctantly. After the two leave, Arya starts feeling scared, but she absolutely can't let them harm Leon. Arya resolves, I can't let Leon suffer hundreds of years of torment. Demeter teases, wow, you can even use magic to threaten people. Impressive. She turns to Demeter. Lord Demeter, can you tell me why the ritual failed? Demeter hesitates. He trails off. He then refuses directly. No, I won't tell you now. Arya doesn't understand why. Demeter says frankly he can guess what she wants to do. It's too risky. Before long, young Leon wakes and asks in confusion who Arya is. Arya shouts in delight, Leon, you're finally awake. She then prepares dinner for him. Young Leon sits at the table looking at Arya, asking in confusion who she is. Arya hastily covers up. I'm just a passerby. Leon says he feels like he's seen her somewhere. Arya explains anxiously she heard a loud noise while passing by and rushed over. Leon nods in half understanding. Ah, I see. He then becomes sad again. Seeing this, Arya begins comforting him. She says softly, I was once like you, experiencing lonely moments. After my mother died, I was alone and felt very lost. But afterward, many important and meaningful encounters happened. Leon looks up, asking seriously, are you happy now? Arya nods with a smile. Of course, I'm very happy now, she urges him. So finish your meal and and cheer up. Leon looks at the food in the bowl, thinking for a moment. He tries a bite. Unexpectedly, as soon as it enters his mouth, he can't help vomiting. The next day, Arya is drying bedding in the yard. She feels fortunate. Thankfully, she worked as a maid and has experience with these chores. Demeter grumbles from the side that she's quite relaxed, not anxious to return at all. Arya realizes suddenly, oh my, Leon must be worried about me. Demeter says helplessly she really hasn't been paying attention to that side at all. Arya argues that if she resolves things here, it might help future Leon. Before long, Arya starts helping Leon comb his hair. Leon asks curiously why she calls him Leon. His name is Leonardo. Arya thinks quickly and says the name Leon sounds cute and affectionate. Leon says shyly he likes this name very much. He then says seriously, didn't you say important encounters would happen? He says with his head down, I feel for me now is that time. I'm grateful you appeared by my side. Hearing this, Arya secretly resolves she still wants to help young Leon. So that evening, after Demeter learns of her decision, he says speechlessly, why don't you just tell me you want to stay here and not leave? Arya apologizes hastily. I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to. She really can't just leave like this now. Leon needs her. Demeter says helplessly, why can't you let go? I said changing history is dangerous. Arya says firmly, no matter the price, I'm not afraid. She says frankly, it's all for Leon, as long as Leon can be happy. Demeter nods. Very well. I understand your resolve. Demeter says directly, actually it's simple. The reason for failure is the magic circle. Your magic power is too strong. You don't need to use a magic circle. He teaches the method. She just needs to silently chant to break the curse and release magic power directly at Leon. Arya is deeply grateful. Thank you, Lord Demeter. She chants silently in her heart. I want to break Leon's curse. Let him gain freedom. Arya looks at Leon, thinking after meeting Leon she was very happy. So she hopes Leon can be happy too. Demeter helplessly begins casting. He says he might as well let her see with her own eyes what kind of future she wants. Saying this, Arya's consciousness is somehow sent to a strange place. Arya calls out anxiously, Lord Demeter? But there's no response. She looks around, wondering if this is the Imperial capital, but it's somewhat different. She begins instinctively searching for Leon. At this moment, Cade passes by her. Then Leon appears in her view. He's still the way she remembers. Arya is overjoyed. She quickly steps forward, wanting to pat Leon's shoulder, but her hand goes straight through. She's shocked. Can't touch Leon? Has she become transparent? The two begin chatting, saying the Viscount Grayson case is too troublesome. Arya's heart tightens. Didn't this happen when she was young? Arya's entire body feels cold. Could it be that in this world she's already dead? She's devastated. Leon will never look at her with gentle eyes again. Arya desperately shouts, I'm here! Leon, look at me! But Leon has no reaction. Arya realizes in despair that Leon can't see her. She shouts again, Leon, I'm here! After shouting, tears well up in her eyes. Leon seems to sense something. He looks back in confusion. Cade asks, what's wrong? Leon shakes his head. Nothing. Probably just my imagination. Arya awakens in a breakdown. No, I don't want to disappear. Demeter's voice comes. I don't know what you saw there. If you still want that kind of future, I won't stop you. Arya covers her face, sobbing. I love Leon so much, so why can't I save him? Demeter comforts. It's precisely because you love him that it's so painful. He says earnestly that unconditional self-sacrifice for happiness isn't necessarily right. Demeter suggests, you can choose to find happiness together with him. Arya is stunned. Together? Be happy together with Leon? Demeter explains. When designing Leon's happy future, include yourself, Arya realizes suddenly, nodding vigorously. She then says, thank you, Lord Demeter. I understand. Demeter sighs in relief. Good that you understand. Didn't waste my breath. He then looks toward Leon still sleeping on the bed. Demeter ponders for a moment. He then casts sealing magic on Leon. He explains, to reduce impact on the future, I've sealed his memories of you. He adds, I hope this will lessen the price you bear. Arya is touched. Why are you helping me to this extent? Demeter answers with a smile. Though you're a bit annoying, you're not dislikable. Arya is immediately moved and thanks him. In the real world, soldiers have arrived at the temple gates. Arya returns to the real world. Leon is looking at her with a puzzled expression. Lillian murmurs to herself that she only remembers seeing a flash of light. Leon comes over delighted and grabs her. Arya, you're finally awake! He asks nervously if she's hurt anywhere. Arya is delighted. Leon didn't forget her. She sits down with a thud, relief washing over her. She covers her face, crying. I'm fine, her voice trembling. The next second, Leon pulls her into his arms, patting her back to comfort her. He apologizes guiltily. Sorry, making you try twice. Were you scared? Arya sobs softly in Leon's arms, her emotions gradually calming. She then resolves and musters courage to confess. I love you, Leon. After saying this, she gets up and kisses Leon's lips. This is the magic that can break the curse.